Hi, Barbara. You're not going to eat that.
Unless you got any better ideas.
Okay, it's your life.
What?
Barbara, that stuff is bad for you. All those chemicals and preservatives. In 20 or 30 years, you'll be gone. Just like that.
You want half?
I thought you'd never ask. What are you doing over here? Mom's out of town, and I'm meeting my dad here.
Oh. Alex, that's my milk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Did you ever take a science class in junior high?
Oh, yeah, general science.
Well, they call it exploring the universe now, but it's the same boring stuff.
Science isn't boring.
It is if you have Miss Hollidale. She can't even tell us about the sex life of the amoeba without blushing. No wonder she isn't married. She's probably sitting around waiting to divide in half.
Fascinating. What's all this about science?
I've got to come up with this science project. She gave us 4 weeks to come up with one, but I can't think of anything.
Well, when's it due?
Friday.
Why are you just starting it now?
Barbara, I've been busy. You know, with baseball practice and track and hanging out with the guys.
Yeah, it's a drag how school can get in the way of important things, huh?
Yeah. So I was wondering if you might have any suggestions.
Well, maybe you can do something like the project I did. It's an experiment on how talking to plants affects their growth.
You talk to plants?
Yeah.
Did they ever talk back?
Well, once. When I pinched off a leaf, I could have sworn I heard a teeny tiny ouch.
Sure you did.
No, really, Alex, this is a real experiment. You get 2 plants. One plant you talk to and the other plant you don't talk to. Then after a period of time, you compare how much the 2 plants have grown.
How'd your experiment work out?
Not too good. The plant I talked to died.
Bored it to death, huh?
No, I didn't bore it to death. I just forgot to water it.
Well, at least it sounds like an easy experiment. Just one thing. What do you say to a plant? Hello, Miss Plant. Nice day. What are you doing this weekend? She says she's getting potted.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Oh, he's talking to a plant.
Yes, that's what I was afraid of.
Oh, darling, don't worry. A few years in analysis, the plant will be as good as new.
Come on, this is my science project. I'm studying how talking to a plant affects its growth.
Talking to plants? What kind of a project is that, Alex?
Barbara, didn't you do a...
Oh, yeah, but I moved on to bigger things. Started talking to trees.
Look, Alex, your project is due in a week. I don't think you have time to measure the effects of talking to a plant.
Oh, I don't have to watch them grow. I just have to buy 2 plants. A big one and a little one.
That's cheating, Alex. Have you seen my paycheck?
I've seen it, my dear. Yes, I've made it out. We've got the phone and the rent and your paycheck.
Thank you. I'll get it.
Okay.
Annie?
Yeah.
Are you sure I get as much money as you do?
Oh, you're not going to know that until it's your turn to be treasurer.
Thought you'd be here. Finish my project.
Hey, that was quick.
Yeah, too quick. Alex, what is that?
It's a volcano.
A volcano. Looks like a party hat.
Does this mean you don't like it?
No, it just means that I'm a little disappointed in that.
Look, I don't think it's such a bad volcano. That's lava, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and the lava is still wet. Looks like my cadmium red.
It's a real nice color.
Yeah, it should be. It costs $4 a tube. I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was a decent project, Alex.
Look, Dad, I couldn't spend so much time on the project because I had to spend so much time writing this report.
Oh, may I look at it? Thank you. Volcanoes. In the placid phase of eruption, volcanoes tranquilly discharge flows of liquid lava without being in conjunction with explosive liberation of gases and the violent explosion of fragmental material. Are these your own words, Alex?
Sure.
Sure? Tranquilly discharge, explosive liberation, expulsion of fragmental material?
Well, not every word. Besides, you always said to use the encyclopedia.
Yes, that's true, I did. Are you thinking of turning this in, Alex?
Yes, the thought had crossed my mind.
You do know that you can do better than this.
Look, Dad, I tried, but
No, that's the point, Alex. You didn't try. You never try. You always take the easy way.
Dad.
Alex, would you, get me some more juice, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Nick, I'm certainly not going to tell you how to raise your kid.
Great.
But it has been my experience that kids try harder with some encouragement.
Yeah, I want to tell you something about my son, Alex. He is a goof-off. In the second grade, everybody had to bring in something for the farm project. Alex Handress brought in shredded wheat.
Zamano, are you hurt?
No, I'm fine. Why?
Well, I saw a couple of drops of blood outside the door.
Ah, well, that's the lava from the volcano.
Schneider, it's my science project.
Ooh, hey. How about that? That's pretty terrific.
Oh, come on, Schneider. Don't tell him that's terrific. That's not a terrific volcano. Alex, I want you to make that project decent and presentable, or else start a whole other project.
Can use my workshop.
Thanks, Schneider, but Dad, do I have to?
Look, Alex, we all have to do things we don't like. I mean, I don't like doing graphics. But I have to do them if I want to compete as a commercial artist.
Father's got a good point there, Alex. I always hated unclogging sinks. But I gotta do them if I want to be ready. I mean, we are on the verge of major interplanetary exploration. Right? I could get a call from NASA tomorrow to go down there and do all the men's rooms in the space shuttle. We're talking very complicated plumbing. I mean, how do you get a good flush at zero gravity? You probably think the captain just does a loop-the-loop anytime anybody goes in the jar. Right, the way it goes. Here you go, Alex. You can use anything you want except the power tools. The power tools are off limits.
Hope I don't mess anything up.
Oh, you won't. If you get any sawdust on the floor, you can clean it up, use a tool, put it back. If you break a tool, you leave town.
Great. I'll break a tool.
You're not really eager to do this, are you?
I don't know why my dad's so hung up on it. I mean, it's not like I want to be a scientist or anything.
Yeah, I know. So what are you going to do this time? Another volcano?
I don't know. What would you do? I mean, if you could make anything in the world, what would it be? Schneider.
Oh, no. Well, you're not going to trick me into helping you. You got to think of this one yourself. Yeah.
Well, how about a windmill?
That's a pretty tough project. I mean, you got to convert wind energy into mechanical energy into electrical energy. It's really tough. Your father says you're looking for the easy way out? Well, give me the idea for a windmill.
Those propellers. If I could slap one on a stick, I'll have it made.
Alex, you gotta relax, Just be, all your muscles gotta be. Here, let me show you
Okay,
here now, see?
show me.
You don't want to fight the saw. You want to give equal pressure here and here. And then the saw, the wood, see, it'll bite right into the wood, see? Look, hey, 1, 2, 1, 2, see there?
Yeah, okay. Let me try it.
Okay. Hey, don't fight it, all right?
I won't.
So now... I'm going to get it here. Show you how easy it goes now. One.
Oh, yeah.
See? 1,
Yeah. 2, 1, 2, yeah.
2, 2.
Yeah. Don't go off the line.
How'd you look?
It's looking great. I think I'm getting the hang of it. It's getting pretty late. I better be getting home, Schneider.
All right. All right, kid. Come on here. You put the flag on top.
Okay. Well, shouldn't you put the flag on top?
No. This is your project. You start it, you finish it.
And you did everything in the middle.
No, this is your idea. I mean, you put the propeller on, you did a lot of the painting, a lot of the sanding.
Got me sold. I'm not so sure about my dad.
All right, Dad's gonna love it. Watch this. Little wind and presto. Miracle of modern science. 1,200 watts of hot air converted into 1 watt of electrical current.
Oh, my dad likes it.
I'm telling you, your dad's gonna love it. Listen, Alex, nothing is invented by one guy anymore. I mean, it takes teams, whole companies, conglomerations. And the bottom line is that the truth is a matter of opinion. And in my opinion, this is your project.
Schneider.
Okay, so I did a little bit of the work. But that's only because I wanted to help you.
Schneider,
Just think of me as your Uncle Schneider helping out his favorite nephew.
May I talk to you for a minute, Unc? How much of that did you make, Alex?
Well, quite a bit, Dad.
How much is quite a bit?
Oh, quite a bit's quite a lot.
Would you mind?
Dad, don't blame Schneider. It wasn't his fault.
Alex, you knew that I wanted you to make this project by yourself. Why did you let Schneider help?
Temporary insanity.
And, Alex, why don't you go on upstairs? I think your father probably wants to talk to me.
You okay, Schneider?
Hey, wait a minute. That's my kid. I'll tell him when to go upstairs, okay, Schneider? If you don't mind. Alex, would you go upstairs and wait? Now,
Just be calm. Don't get your brains in an uproar.
I am calm, Schneider. I want to talk to you about this.
What's to talk about? The kid was dying for somebody to help him.
And don't you think that I want to help him? I mean, I'm an artist. I work with my hands. I could do a terrific job on that. I don't believe in it, Schneider. I want my kid to learn how to do things for himself.
Handress, you go down to that science class, you won't find one project that was done by the kid entirely by himself, unless the kid was a genius. And I mean, that's what dads are for, to help their kids.
I am helping my kid. I'm helping him by not helping him.
It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. No wonder he doesn't turn to you for any help.
What are you talking about? Of course he turns for me to help. I just don't give it to him.
What kind of a father is that? You probably never even changed a kid's diapers.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
I'll tell you what it has to do with anything. My father helped me change my diapers. He didn't come up to me and say, okay, you did it, so learn how to do it yourself.
Who cares about your diapers, Schneider? I'm talking about my kid, and you're talking about you. Schneider, you're a good man. I really appreciate what you're doing. I know you love Alex, and I think that's terrific. But do me a favor, will you? Would you please let Alex learn how to do things by himself? Please.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Remember once I saw a mama bird kick a little baby bird out of the nest.
Right, so it could learn how to fly.
Yeah. Except this time the little baby bird landed on the big cat, you know.
If I can't turn in the windmill, what am I going to do?
Well, you just turn in another project.
How about the volcano?
The volcano. Fine, Alex, fine. If you feel it's the best you can do, sure. If you want your mother and your grandparents to come to school and see what you've done, go ahead. If you're really proud of the volcano, turn it in, Alex.
Gee, thanks, Dad.
Do you believe this kid?
Nick,
You don't believe him, neither do I, Annie. All right, Alex, I want you to make another project, and that's final.
Dad, I don't have any time.
Then make time.
It's due the day after tomorrow.
Okay, that's 2 days, Alex. You got 48 hours.
hey, Nick, come on, he's got to get some sleep.
Who made up that rule?
God did.
No, he didn't. He slept once every 7 days.
Maybe he can just improve on his first project.
God?
You! He can sleep if he gets to work now, Annie.
Right. Annie, stay out of this.
Alex, your idea for the volcano was fine. It's just what you did with it was crummy. I mean, I want you to come up with a project that really demonstrates what goes on inside the volcano. Something the students can look at and really learn from. Put some lights in it, some action, give it some color.
How?
That's for you to figure out, son. You got a good brain there. I want you to use it. Come on, Alex, you got 48 hours.
And what if I don't do it?
If you don't do it, there's no more baseball, no more basketball, no more movies, television, no more anything that you like to do.
For how long?
Forever.
Forever?
Or longer. Okay, you gonna make another volcano?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Say it.
Hey, who am I to judge?
Oh, sweetheart, that's really understanding.
Touch me.
Miss Romano, you got any of that, that gift wrapping paper?
Oh, no, Schneider, we don't have any.
I guess I can give it to him like this.
What's the candy for?
This is for Alex. He's been working real hard.
Oh, yeah. Join the club.
Look, I don't think we should give him so many sweets. Why don't you take the cookies down tonight and save the candy for tomorrow?
Well, why don't we take the candy down tonight, save the cookies for tomorrow?
The cookies are warm.
The candy has a wiring diagram under the chocolate-covered cherries. Anna's been watching me like a hawk.
Come on, Schneider. Let's take them down, too. I'm sure we'll appreciate it.
Oh, look, homemade cookies.
They're not for you.
Neither are these.
I get the feeling I'm not very popular around here.
Very perceptive.
Well, I've got some good news. We got a reply from the mailer we sent out. Maurice Tiller from C&L Appliances. I think we're gonna be rich.
Wonderful.
Hey, Romano, what's wrong with you, huh?
Okay. You want to know what's wrong with me? I've kept my mouth shut for a week. That's what's wrong with me.
I have a feeling the golden era of silence is about to come to an end.
Nick, there is a way to discipline a child without being unreasonable.
Nope, I am not gonna get into an argument with you, Annie.
No, I don't want to argue either. I just think it needs to be discussed.
You sound just like Felicia. I think that's why we got divorced. She always wanted to discuss everything to death.
Okay. Nick, 1 week you give Alex everything he wants out of guilt, and the next week you behave like the foreman of a sweatshop.
Damn it, Felicia, why is it every... I'm sorry, damn it, Annie. You sound like all those permissive parents. You want me to spoil my kid? Well, I'm not going to spoil my kid anymore.
I am not one of those permissive parents. I have disciplined my girls, but I have also given them the right to make their own decisions and make some of their own mistakes.
Well, that's fantastic, but my son happens to be a goof-off.
Then maybe you better find out why. There's got to be a reason, and you ought to know what it is before you lower the boom on him.
Can't stand parents who think they're amateur psychiatrists.
Better than amateur dictators.
Okay, Toots, if you know all the answers, why are both of your daughters dropouts, huh?
Hey, look, I could have forced my daughters to go to college, but Julie proved to me it wasn't right for her, and Barbara may still go back. And if she does, it's going to be for her and not for me.
There you go again.
What?
I have a one-kid problem, you gotta have a two-kid problem.
You're the one who brought the subject of my daughters up, not me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe you do know what's right for your daughters, but I know my son. And I know that if I don't push him, he's gonna spend the rest of his life sitting on his duff.
But, Nick, do you have to push him so hard?
Okay, guess who we met out in the hallway?
A door-to-door volcano salesman.
We told him we already had one, but you know how those volcano salesmen are.
They don't have one like this. Oh, Alex, that is so terrific.
Oh, boy, Alex, you really did a great job this time.
Oh, look at that. Lights all connected to a switch and a battery, and he hasn't even opened a candy yet.
You really did a swell job.
Thank you, but that's what you all said about my other one. I want to know what my dad thinks.
Yeah. Well, look at all that lava. Woo! And this has a light, and oh, my. I bet Schneider didn't,
No. He did come down to the workshop a couple of times, but he just bit his hand and left.
Well, this is pretty good. I mean, this is the best volcano I have ever seen in my life.
I'm glad you're happy.
Oh, boy, am I happy. What about you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
So it's all ready to turn in?
No, I've still got some time. See, what I was thinking was getting some smoke pellets from my old train set and putting some real volcanic rock all around here.
Ah, yeah.
You know, this was fun once I got started.
I know. And I guess the next step is to find out why it's always so hard for you to get started.
Yeah. But, Dad, you know, if you bought me a tape recorder, we could build a little speaker system inside.
Wait a minute.
And how about
What?
this?
Alex.
We get into a big helicopter. We can fly to Mount St. Helens and get real volcanic
Alex, just
sounds.
a second.
You don't think that's a good idea?
Alex, I think it's a good idea, but I don't know about the tape recorder. I mean,
Hello. Yes, this is Anne Romano of Romano and Hendricks. Well, who's this? Just a minute, please. It's Mr. Tiller.
Tiller, you're kidding. What does he want? Well, fine.
Hello, Mr. Tiller. Hi. Yes? Oh, good. Thank you. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, sure. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
What?
He wants to talk to us about handling his account.
You're kidding. When?
Saturday morning. He wants us to come up with some ideas by then.
Saturday morning? Well, that's 48 hours.
Oh, don't worry, Dad. You can do it. You've got my blood in you.
Alex, I'm going to tell you something. If we land this account, your father will buy you Mount St. Helens.
No, not if. We've got to land this account, Annie.
Okay.
Okay.
To work.
There you go. Annie,
Yeah.
take a look at this.
Okay. Hold it.
Come on.
Okay.
What do you think?
Special Creative Award to the Romano and Hendris Advertising Agency, 1981. That's terrific, Nick. Where did it come from?
Me. Don't touch it. I just finished painting it.
I tell you, you are really a ninny. Just because one of the most important advertising agencies in all of Indianapolis is about to walk through that door is no reason to put on airs. Nick, would you straighten it a little?
Sure. Which way?
Over there.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
Hi. Here I am. Okay, where's my desk and what time's the coffee break?
Barbara! What are you doing here?
Oh, well, Mom asked me to play secretary while you guys had your big meeting.
Talking about ninnies.
Yeah, well, Barbara doesn't have to work today anyway, and we do need someone to answer the phones.
Who is this, chairman of the board?
No, Schneider was nice enough to drive me over here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You guys validate?
Parking? What were we talking about here? 50 cents?
For the first 5 minutes, how about a couple of bucks?
Catch you later.
I'm only kidding. It's on the house. Hey, look at this place. Holy mackerel. I mean, where else but in America could two people meet in the unemployment line and 3 months later be one of the biggest advertising agencies in town?
Is that my desk out there?
Yeah, it is. Right there. Oh, everybody's a little jumpy today. It's D-Day. Mr. Tiller is supposed to sign with us. We hope.
What are you guys so nervous about? You got other accounts?
Oh, sure. There's still Manny's meat market.
Come on, think positive. You guys are good. Don't put yourself down. Who is this guy Tiller anyway?
He owns C&L Appliances.
C&L Appliances? They got stores all over town. He wants to hire you? You must spend thousands of dollars on advertising.
Try $500,000.
$500,000? I really gotta hand it to you two guys. I mean, I really gotta hand it to you, Ms. Romano. Here you are, trying to land a $500,000 account with rented furniture and Nick the cartoonist.
He's an illustrator.
He's an artist.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's an artist who draws with crayons. Listen, I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna call you every 5 minutes, so the guy's really gonna think you're busy.
You don't
know.
have to do
No,
that.
that's the way
Really,
to do it.
you're-
Oh, and incidentally, yeah, let's go for that 2-page ad in Time magazine, and then let's go for the Carson show. That's the Johnny Carson show.
Schneider.
Yeah?
I'd like you to meet Manny Mancuso of Manny's Meat Market.
Oh, hi there, Manny. Got a little liverwurst in your fingernails.
Hi.
It's some meatball.
It's real good to see you. Man, do we have an appointment?
Well, 10 o'clock. That's what Nick said. 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. He said 10 o'clock.
That's right, Manny. I said 10 o'clock. It's good to see you. Why don't you just step into the office and we'll be with you in a second, okay?
Nick, could I give you a minute?
Sure.
We have 2 appointments all week. You make them at the same time?
It's called psychology. Trust me, busy people like busy people. Look busy.
Hey, that promotion you did for me last week was beautiful. I mean, how you could take a pot roast and turn it into poetry. You are strictly USDA choice.
Thank you, Manny. I'm glad you liked it.
And now I want to go all the way. I want to do the biggest promotion of the year on whole broiling and frying chickens.
Sounds great, Manny.
I want to slap handbills under every windshield wiper in the neighborhood. Stuff every mailbox.
Would you excuse me just a minute?
You know, that chicken.
Hello?
Mr. Tiller is here to see you. Okay. Could you have a seat, please?
You tack them up on all the
Tillery.
telephone
Okay,
poles.
that's a great idea, man.
Walls and fences.
Yeah, man, it's great. Let's go.
And pass them out at bingo games.
Good, man. Let's go.
Where are we going?
I want to take you out to the secretary, get your thinking down on paper. It's a great idea.
Yes, it's too
Ah,
important.
Mr.
We want to get it down
Tiller.
in
Oh,
writing. And we'll get on it right away.
Romano and Hendris. Just a second. It's Mr. Schneider from Procter & Gamble.
Mr. Schneider.
Tell him, we'll get right back to him.
okay,
Mr.
we'll
Schneider, could you tell Mr. Proctor or Mr. Gamble that they'll get right back to him?
Barbara, Mr. Mancuso is going to give you some information about the meat packing industry.
Oh, basically, I'm just talking breasts and thighs.
Okay, well, I'll get down right away, but do you have a pencil?
Pencil. There you go. Boy, what a morning.
Pretty busy little office you two have here. Well, you know what I always say. If you want something done right, you give it to a busy person.
Oh, that's an interesting theory.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Annie?
Right. Excuse me. Yeah. The paper is in the upper left-hand drawer. No more calls, huh? That means don't buzz us. Got temporary help.
Pretty face, probably not too bright. Special Creative Award. Well, little sticky, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's this humidity in here where we'll get our new suite of offices.
Please, Mr. Tiller, why don't you sit down?
Maurice. After all, we're going to be working together.
We are?
You mean we've got the account?
Well, if you want it, may not amount to much. $500,000 budget. Let's see, that works out to, how much commission for you two?
$75,000.
Mr. Tiller, Maurice, please be assured that we are going to treat you as though you were the biggest account we've got.
We have worked out a knockout campaign. Promotion, publicity, point of sale.
That's what I like about you two. You're energetic, you're enthusiastic, you're out there in front of the pack. Not like my last agency. I had to tell them everything. Now, here's what I want you to do. Run this in Wednesday's paper, will you?
That's the ad you have been running.
Yeah, I know. It's the one they want. Bargains, 3 specials a week, low prices. That's what brings them in.
Yes, Maurice, but we can bring more of them in.
Absolutely. We can do an ad with more excitement, more creativity.
Are you saying this is dull and uninteresting copy?
Well, no, I'm... yeah. Well, I don't know who wrote it, so
I did.
Well, we wouldn't change a word of it, Maurice, but maybe the layout did you do the layout?
No.
Good, because I think we can give a fresh, new approach. We'll clean it up a bit. It is a little busy, Maurice.
That would help. Sure. You don't need 3 big specials. You're competing with yourself. 1 special would do it. It'd make it seem more important.
And it'll be a nice, clean ad. Just 1 TV set leaping out at you from the page, and we still hold on to your low price, $199 for a color TV set in big type.
Okay. You are the creative persons. Now, you go ahead and run with it. After all, what have you got to lose? Just a $500,000 account.
You are a genius. A few strokes of your magic pen and zoom! C&L Appliances have a 5% sales increase in 1 week.
Now, wait a minute. Your body copy wasn't so bad either. Speaking of your body copy, come here. We did it.
I know. We did it. We did it!
Did what? Oh, I guess I'm still too young to know.
Well, listen to this. Mr. Tiller called, and he is delighted we are on our way. $75,000.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Barbara, you were really a sweetheart to help us out last week.
Oh, come on, it was fun. And that Manny Mancuso, I've never seen a man get so excited over a dead chicken.
Oh, no. Manny's flyers. I can't get up for that.
So let me take a crack at it.
You?
Yeah, why not? It's just words. It's not like she has to draw something.
Oh!
Come on.
Okay, why not? Give it a shot. Maybe it'll spark something in us, Give us something to work on. Sure.
Oh, good. It'll be fun.
What is it?
Go ahead. Take a guess. You wouldn't guess in 1,000,000 years. In 2,000,000 years, you wouldn't guess. Take a guess.
I don't have 2,000,000 years.
That's right. She's 38 already.
38? Shouldn't you be sitting down, Miss Romano?
Go ahead. Anybody gathered in this room here, give a guess. Try and guess what Snyder has here as a little present. Go ahead, guess.
It's their newspaper ad. You got it framed. I was right? Was I right? I was right!
Snyder, oh, no, that's terrific of you. It's so sweet.
Yes, Snyder, that's really very nice.
Must have cost you a fortune, Schneider.
For sure. Talk about art. You don't talk about money. I mean, look at that. I can't believe that. Page 4 of the sports section, right opposite the morning line from Pimlico. You guys are headed for greatness.
No, I don't know about greatness, but Mr. Tiller said the ad really pulled for him.
Boy, you're not kidding. That store is really jammed.
I want to ask you something, Schneider. You mean you went down to one of the stores?
Oh, come on. I wasn't born every minute. You can't pass up a bargain like that.
Well, Schneider, you went and bought the $199 color TV?
No, I bought the $499 color TV.
You spent $500 for a TV?
No. I spent $499, but let me tell you what happened. See, I think the salesman I got was a real rookie, all right? I'm looking at this set, and the back of it set's a tag, and the tag says $799. So the rookie say, calls up to me, hey, how much is this set? And the manager, he goes out, he says, that's $499. Well, right away, I got $300 in my back pocket, so I had that baby in the back of my van in 2 minutes.
How come you didn't buy the $199 set?
Well, when I got there this morning, they were all gone.
Schneider, what time was that?
Well, I don't know. It's about 9:15. Those sets must have moved faster than a lovesick sailor on a 3-hour pass. Sure. Well, listen, anyway, why don't you come on down to my place and we can all watch Lonnie Anderson in living color. I'm going to miss her in double image.
Nick, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah. The old bait and switch.
The old what?
It's the old bait and switch, Alex. It's just a big come on. You see, stores advertise items at ridiculously lowball prices just to get the people in place.
And then when they get there, they tell them that they've just sold out of that item and they unload a much more expensive model on the poor guy.
Well, you know, maybe they really did run out of $199 sets.
15 minutes after they opened. Uh-huh.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what?
Yeah. Oh, I got it.
Got what? Tell me. Talk to me,
Could you
Annie. Come
hold
on.
on a minute,
Come on.
please? Would you know
Okay,
that
okay.
I'm trying to talk
Would
to
you talk to
one
me,
ear. I'm
please?
trying to hear
Okay,
the other.
all right, Annie.
I'm sorry. The baby was yelling.
The what?
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Well, Mom?
Well, the Better Business Bureau has heard of CNL.
And?
And they've had a few complaints.
And?
And they've checked them out, and they couldn't prove anything.
Well, that's great. You're saying they've got a clean bill of health from the Better Business Bureau.
No, I'm not saying that. They said it's very difficult to prove deception in advertising, that the term adequate supply has never been really defined.
Well, we got to find out if Tiller is running a bait and switch operation.
Yeah, I know. What that man is trying to pull just makes me furious.
Yoo-hoo! Is anybody home?
Annie, please, don't attack the man as soon as he walks in. Try to be diplomatic for a change, okay?
I will. Mr. Tiller, do you do bait and switch?
Good morning to you, too, young lady.
I'm sorry. It's just that a friend of mine went into one of your stores to buy the $199 color TV, the special, and wound up spending $500.
Right, Mr. Tiller, and all we want to know is, did you have any sets for $199?
Well, of course we did. 3 of them, I think.
3? But, Mr. Tiller, we ran a full-page ad covering the entire Indianapolis
And a very
area.
handsome ad, too, if I do say. Look, Annie, if this guy was a friend of yours, just have him bring the set back.
No, Mr. Tiller, that's not...
Maurice.
How can you run a full-page ad without warning the public that you only have a few sets at that price?
By George, I believe you're right.
I am?
Well, that's sheer genius, that's what it is.
What is?
Why, in the next ad, we'll have a big warning. Supply limited. Hurry, we'll have them crawling all over each other.
Mr. Tiller,
Oh, I tell you, if you two can keep up this kind of thinking, why, there's a good chance you'll pick up my TV and radio advertising as well.
Mr. Tiller, this is a question of morality.
And that budget is $300,000.
We are talking
which should bring you
ethics
another
here.
$45,000. Tie that in with the $75,000 you've already got.
Right.
And you end up
Mr.
with a tidy
Tiller.
commission of $120,000.
Supply limited. It's not a bad idea. Maurice.
Okay.
I've got it.
What?
Writer's block.
Well, that's funny. My magic marker seems sluggish, headachy, and out of sorts. Annie, how are we going to live with ourselves and keep this account, huh?
Simple. We just keep repeating to ourselves over and over and over again. $120,000, $120,000, $120,000. Well, I can't think of anything else.
Nothing else?
No, nothing. Well, something else. No, that's not bad.
Hey, hi, Manny. We're just working on the broilers and the fryers.
I think they're burning.
Manny, so you're here already.
Already?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday. Nick said Wednesday. It's Wednesday. That's what he said, Wednesday.
Yes, indeed, Manny, and we're going to have something wonderful for you in a few days.
Oh, you've already had a few days. I got chickens to move. I want to see something now.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late.
Late for what?
Well, my account is here, and I've got a terrific idea.
Oh, Barbara, not now, okay?
You are turning my account over to the junior varsity? Boy, this better be good.
Give us a few days, okay? We really want it to be right.
Sure, Manny. It's just like your business. When a woman comes in for a chicken, you don't want her to see it half plucked, do you?
Come on, Mom. Trust me.
Mom? Mom?
Okay, now I think I've really got something. As we say in the ad game, let's just run it up the old telephone pole and see if anybody answers, huh?
What did you say?
Okay, now picture this. One of Manny's chickens is wearing a vest and a bow tie.
A vest? Did she say a chicken with a vest?
Yeah.
Yeah, now this is the great part. He's pulling on one leg of his pants, right? Now here is the payoff. You bring your flyers in and you get free chicken dressing. You get it? A chicken dressing.
I'll wait till it's plucked. No, maybe I won't wait. There's plenty of other advertising agencies that would love to have my account.
Manny, we're going to
Manny,
have something
end of the
for you,
week.
please. Manny,
Promise.
give us a chance.
We
We can have something great in a few days.
A chicken with a vest. And maybe a little beanie to match.
Boy, well, I'm really sorry.
No,
Bob, it's okay. You gave it a good try.
I think the beanie's going just a bit too far, though.
Chicken dressing.
Can I help it if she has my looks and her father's brains?
Well, you know, we're doing very well. 2 accounts, and they're both going right down the drain.
Nick, if we lose Manny, we've got nothing.
So what are we supposed to do about it?
Well, maybe we shouldn't be so hasty about dumping C&L. I mean, if we don't take it, somebody else will.
See, Maurice, what these ads will do will build a reputation for quality, for service.
For fair prices and integrity.
I get the picture. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean, we could build an ad campaign that will hit on your positive selling points.
Right, we want to build an image for your company that's going to last for years.
How do you people do it? Boy, what an exciting atmosphere. It's charged with creativity and ideas and campaigns and slogans and Cherry's Jubilee. I had a wonderful evening. Thank you.
That's great, Maurice.
Thank you. So we'll see you in the office on Tuesday?
Mm-hmm, you bet.
Good.
First thing. Oh, by the way, next Wednesday's ad.
Yeah.
Let's make the price, I don't know, a little bit bigger.
Mr. Tiller, you haven't heard a word we've said all evening.
Why, I certainly have. I listen intently to both of you.
Yeah, you may be listening, but you're not going to change your tactics, are you?
I would love to know why you came to us in the first place.
Because you're my kind of people. You're hungry, you're aggressive, you're trying to get somewhere. All right. You want to talk tactics, is that it? Annie, I did notice this charming picture you have here of your temporary help. And Nick, what about that plaque I loved in your office? You know, it only took me 2 days to get the paint off my finger. Now, come on, you two. Next Wednesday's ad, you bait the hook, and we will get along just fine.
That's great, Maurice. We'll bait the hook.
Okay. See you Tuesday.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Alex.
Oh, Nicholas, is this your boy?
Yep, this is my boy, Alex. Alex, this is Mr. Tiller.
How do you do, Alex?
Hey, you're the guy with the bait and switch. That's a neat idea.
Alex, you think that's a neat idea?
Worked great for me. Put a notice on the bulletin board of the elementary school. Hot deal on comic books. Superman, Batman, Captain Marvel, 10 cents.
What do you mean 10 cents? Those things cost 50 cents when they're new.
So I lost a little on those. I only had 3 of them. But I unloaded 36 Archie and Veronicas for a terrific price.
You did what?
Those guys were sitting ducks. Hey, some of those kids came clear across town for those lowball specials.
Shrewd kid you got here, Nick.
You're right, Maurice. Shrewd kid. About your account, Maurice.
Yeah, what are you doing?
He's tearing up $120,000.
You got it.
Well, call me when Alex has taken over the agency, will you?
What'd you do that for?
I did it for myself, Alex.
And for you?
Come on, Sonny boy. We're gonna have a talk about what's right and what's wrong.
Nick.
Huh?
Can I come too?
You betcha.
Honey, what's wrong?
Huh?
Well, I've seen you eat 1 ding-dong when you broke a nail and 2 ding-dongs when your hair frizzed, but a whole plate full? Did Al Pacino get married?
I don't know, but Ted Loomis is coming over.
Ah, Ted Loomis. Okay, don't tell me. Ted Loomis, he's the tall, blonde jock, right?
Close. He's the short, dark genius.
Of course, Ted Loomis, he's your old tutor.
Old. Mommy's only 15.
Yeah, I know, but he is a college graduate.
True.
Phi Beta Kappa. True. With a brain that makes mine look like a peanut.
True.
So, what's little genius up to now?
Oh, probably about here.
Hello.
Ted, well, come on in. You've grown.
Oh, Barbara, you certainly have aged well.
Ted,
Hello, Ms. Romano.
How are you? I gotta tell you, it's not fair.
What?
Smarter than I am, okay, but you gotta be taller.
Well, isn't everybody?
Yeah, well, I have noticed a significant increase in my hormone activity lately.
I can see you've been shaving.
Can you really see a beard?
Oh, well, I can see where you cut yourself.
You see, the hairs are there. They just won't surface.
Come on, Ted, sit down.
Ding-dongs. Barbara, you remembered.
Sure, you want one?
No, thanks. I don't like them. See, they're for kids. Of all ages.
So, Ted, tell me, what have you been doing with yourself since we last saw you?
Besides growing.
Well, I had a very stimulating summer.
Oh, really? Camp?
Harvard. I got a business degree.
Uh-huh. And Barbara got a tan.
Ted, you're amazing.
Only my mind. My body's nothing special. Which is what I want to talk to you about, Barbara.
Your body?
No, it's my mind. And what I'm going to do with it.
No bicycles in the hallway. How many times do I have to tell you?
That's my bike.
Hey, look who's here, the mini calculator. How are you, Ted?
Fine, Mr. Schneider.
Yeah. How's the old IQ?
Bigger.
Bigger, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Who led the National League in RBIs in 1930?
Lewis Robert Wilson, better known as Hack, 190 RBIs. Mr. Wilson was born in Lincoln, Nebraska, to Lithuanian parents.
Well, I think his mother was Croatian. So, Ted, you got any girlfriends?
Oh, see, it's the same old problem. They're either too old or too dumb. How about you, Mr. Schneider? How are all your lady friends?
Oh, same old problem. Rather too young or too smart.
So, Ted, ¿qué pasa?
Yo me he graduado de la universidad y yo estoy buscando empleo.
I hear you.
See, I just told him I was looking for a job.
In near perfect Portuguese.
You know, they have an opening at Olympia Sporting Goods where I work for a stock boy.
What are you kidding? This guy is a brain trust. He should be down in Washington advising the president on what kind of jelly beans to buy.
So, Ted, what do you have in mind?
Corporate executive.
With your own key to the little boy's room.
That's the problem, see? Everyone thinks of me as a little boy. Now, look, a dozen companies have liked my resume, and then I go in for the interviews, and the secretaries grab me.
That's one of your fringe benefits.
I can't get past them. They take one look at me and suddenly their bosses are very busy. The secretaries laugh at me. It's so frustrating. I guess it's my puerility.
Have you tried calamine lotion?
No one will hire me.
It's unfair. It really sounds unfair. You're more than qualified.
All they seem to notice is that I'm a kid. No one cares that mentally Einstein and I are like this.
Yeah, it's the same way with me and Errol Flynn.
I do have one more possibility, though. See, I submitted a reorganization plan to Ericsson Enterprises.
You're kidding. They own Olympia Sporting Goods.
Not to mention half of Indianapolis.
Well, they liked my plan, and I have an interview with them tomorrow. I just hope I can get into their inner office.
Hey, listen, maybe I could take you down to the boom boom room at the Purple Pig. That'll put 10 years on you like that.
You know, Ted, what you really need is a ringer.
A what?
A ringer. That's somebody who goes in and poses as Ted just to get him in to see the head honcho.
Mom?
It's mildly larcenous. I like it.
Well, now all you need is someone who can handle the secretary.
When you care enough to send the very best.
Right, pal. So long. Have a nice day. Yeesh.
Good morning.
April, I don't need that. I didn't have a wild and crazy night last night.
Eat your heart out.
I presume you came in here for a reason?
Oh, your first interview out there? You're not gonna like it.
Oh, give me a hint.
Mr. Ted Loomis?
Oh, yes. Mr. Erickson's discovery. Created that brilliant reorganization plan, not unlike the one I drew up.
Except Erickson didn't like yours.
Didn't say he didn't like it. He said he'd get back to me on it.
That was 3 years ago.
He's a very busy man. Why don't you bring Loomis in?
Yes, indeedy. Mr. Loomis, Mr. Buckley will see you now.
Look, Buckley, about the kid.
Hey, I understand. I saw Kramer versus Kramer. Wife ran off to find herself. Babysitters are expensive. Sit down, son.
Listen, Buckley.
Call me Roger, Ted.
Call me Dwayne, Roger.
You're not Ted, Dwayne?
No, I'm Dwayne, Roger.
Roger, Dwayne. Ted.
I happen to be the advance man without portfolio for Ted Loomis.
Advance man?
To keep you from discriminating.
We do not discriminate here at Ericsson Enterprises. Our motto is, for a job well done, we'd hire a nun.
How about an altar boy?
We make a point of bringing bright young people into the company straight out of college.
That's Ted Loomis.
Fertile young minds with fresh new ideas.
That's Ted Loomis.
Who are willing to start at the bottom and work their way up.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of that?
Why are you asking him?
That's Ted Loomis.
How do you do, Mr. Buckley?
Excuse me. April, get Mr. Erickson in here. Immediately. You can't be Ted Loomis. You're a child.
No offense, sir, but youth and quality of mind are not always mutually exclusive.
You get the picture? All right, kid, you're on your own.
Thanks, Mr. Schneider.
I'll be outside with the secretary. There's no hurry. And Buckley, please always remember and don't ever forget that the best things in life come in little packages. We're talking about Napoleon, Willie Shoemaker, Pee Wee Reese, Gary Coleman, and an internationally famous gardener, Tom Thumb. So, how's it going with the reindeer?
How would you like a nice hunk of coal in your stocking? Oh, by the way, I think we better make this very fast, because in a half an hour, I go hang gliding.
Yes, Mr. Erickson. I'd like you to meet Ted Loomis.
You know, that's what happens when you get to my age. Everybody looks like a kid.
Everyone is young at one time, sir.
Not necessarily. I don't think Roger here was ever young.
Thank you, sir.
You know, you must be one of those prodigies I keep reading about.
I'm afraid so, sir.
Well, don't knock it. That's great. So is your reorganization plan.
Right. Not unlike mine.
I didn't like yours.
Thank you, sir.
I think that your plan shows great promise.
Thank you, sir.
Come back in about 10 years.
But I'm available now.
Teddy, we don't have a daycare center here.
I can't wait 10 years.
Teddy, let's be realistic. We're running a business here. Anyone we hire, besides having a good mind, must also be able to handle authority.
You got a point?
But you like my plan.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Look, can't I at least go over it with you?
Well, am I smart enough?
I really don't know, sir.
Oh, now you see that? He's so young he doesn't even know how to kiss up. But you can teach him.
Thank you, sir. Look, son, no offense, but our company is more than diagrams and charts. It's people. Excuse me, sir. Now, how good is the kid going to be in the stores, implementing his plan, working with people, large people?
But,
Let's
sir...
face it, sir. What adult is going to take orders from a kid? It's absurd.
How you going to answer that?
Mozart was a kid when he composed his first symphony. Was that absurd?
Well,
Picasso was a kid when he painted his first masterpiece. Now, was that absurd?
I never liked his early work. Anyway, I'm talking about an adult taking orders from a kid.
John Paul Jones was an officer when he was only 17.
He's got you there.
Look, why don't you two start judging me on my abilities instead of on when I was born? You said you liked my reorganization plan.
I loved it, my boy. I loved it.
Well, then what about the plan has changed since you found out my age?
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Sir, he's my son Herbie's age.
I've met Herbie.
Look, so I'm young. That won't last. I'm inexperienced. Now, that'll change. All I need is a chance. Somebody must have given you your first chance, Mr. Erickson.
Oh, yeah. She was quite a babe.
Well, maybe we should give him a chance. After all, it is Teddy's plan. He's the only one who understands it. Let's let him implement it. Let's put him in one of our stores.
Good idea.
What? You can't put a kid in the field.
Oh, yes, I can. I own the company. Welcome to Erickson Enterprises.
Neato.
Neato?
I've never had such a young employee.
Oh, well, sir, I've never had such an old boss.
I look old, huh?
Only with wisdom, sir.
Oh, you're learning fast.
Hi, Barbara.
Ted, hi. How'd the interview go?
Well, I got a job.
That's terrific. Doing what?
Well, actually, I'll be working here temporarily.
I don't understand. What, are you gonna be the new stock boy?
No, I'm gonna be your boss.
Oh.
People, may I have your attention, please? I am Roger Buckley, Executive Vice President at Erickson Enterprises. Thank you. Now, I'm sure you're all asking yourselves, for gosh sakes, what's an important VIP like him doing down here with us? Well, I'll tell you. It wasn't my idea. However, for the next few weeks, we're sending your regular boss on a little junket to Miami, and Master Ted Loomis here will be your supervising manager.
What if he has to take a nap?
Reminder, we're all playing on Mr. Erickson's team. This is what he wants, as kooky and zany as it may seem. They're all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley, for that vote of confidence.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Goodbye, people. And remember, ladies, if you're going to make a pass at the boss, make sure it's with an Erickson football.
All right, everyone. Okay. My plan involves everything from tearing down walls to computerizing our stock, okay? Now, first order of business is to do a complete inventory, and I'm gonna need all your help.
Yeah, to reach the top shelves.
Come on, will you give him a break?
Look, I know that your normal routine here may be disrupted. And
Instead of a coffee break, we'll have recess.
I like that.
Come on, you guys.
We're just kidding.
That's all right, Janice. I I'm in favor of fun and all, but I think it's time we got started. Barbara, you handle the register.
Okay.
And, Janice and...
Robert.
Robert. Could you two start dismantling these displays?
You got it, big guy.
They were laughing at me.
Come on, they laugh at everyone.
I know, but Mr. Erickson will think I can't handle authority.
They'll take you seriously, Ted. Just give it some time.
How much time?
Oh, come on. Just be patient. People aren't used to seeing your kind of brain and your kind of body.
I wish my voice was deeper. Like yours, Barbara.
Ted, you're just gonna have to show them you mean business, that's all.
Business. You mean I gotta be firm and strong and virile?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hey, Robert, when you're done here, you could get started on the storeroom.
Anything you say, kiddo.
The name is Mr. Loomis, and let's get something straight here. You're working for me. It's not the other way around. Got it, kiddo? How was that?
A little heavy on the virility.
No, you know, I don't think so. Barbara, you've really given me a handle on this thing. From now on, this job's gonna be a piece of cake. Hey, you look alive. Come on, there's stuff to do. Now get to it.
I can't believe it. I just sold the last lacrosse stick.
And would you believe we had a run on tether balls?
I guess the Ayatollah Loomis's ideas are working.
He's not that bad.
Come on, people. This isn't the social hour. There's work to do.
I did everything you asked.
Did you dust the boomerangs?
What's the point? They always come back anyway.
Welcome back. Did you enjoy your long lunch?
Sorry, I'm only 5 minutes late.
5 minutes, that's 5 lashes.
Come on, he's only been here 3 days.
Yeah.
Things are bound to get better.
I hope so. Lately, every time I see a child, I break out in hives. Stand back. Let me pass.
What's going on? I just came in for some sweat socks.
Barbara, do you know what that little twerp just said to me? He said, get your buns in gear. I hate little boys.
I thought we were kind of cute.
You are. Just stay that way.
Look, you two are not being paid to socialize.
We're working.
In between anecdotes.
Since when is talking a crime?
Look, don't ask any questions. Just do what I say.
Listen, Mr. Loomis, you gotta stop treating us like this.
Yeah, you're really mean.
I'm simply exerting my authoritative prerogative.
Well, stuff your authoritative prerogative.
You're fired.
You can't do that.
You're fired.
Excuse me.
You're fired, too.
I'm a customer.
Ted, you better watch.
You're fired.
What's going on here?
So are you. Mr. Buckley.
You can't fire me.
I kind of like the sound of that. What's going on?
I let some of the employees go.
How many?
Everybody.
Everybody?
Plus a customer.
How the hell did you do that?
He was on a roll.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm an ex-employee.
How could you fire a little fox like that?
Let's face it, Mr. Erickson, you had a good idea here. It was innovative, imaginative, and a disaster. I say we bail out.
Oh, you're a barrel of laughs.
Thank you, sir.
That was not a compliment.
Thank you, sir.
You blew it, huh?
Yes, sir. The employees couldn't accept me because I'm a kid.
We couldn't accept you because you're a jerk.
Oh, I see why you fired it.
I'm sorry, but it has nothing to do with age.
You told me to be firm.
Firm does not mean ferocious.
They were making fun of me.
And you were making mincemeat of them.
She's not gonna let you off the hook.
No, I'm going to treat him just like an adult.
But I'm just a kid.
Can't have it both ways.
I'll turn in my resignation in the morning, sir.
Good idea.
No, it's not. Come here, come here, come here. Well, look, I want you to tell me what happened exactly.
Well, I couldn't hack it, Mr. Erickson. I'm not a kid. But I'm not an adult either. I'm a misfit.
Oh, come on. We all feel like that sometimes. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I never finished high school. No, for years I felt I was so dumb.
You're not dumb.
Well, you're not a misfit.
Nobody understands me. No one respects me.
Well, you can't demand respect. You have to earn that.
But that could take years.
Look, Einstein didn't develop the theory of relativity overnight.
Well, he had a lot on his mind. What am I gonna do?
Well, look, you're the brain. You tell me.
I'll call the people I fired and tell them I was wrong and ask them to come back.
Good.
And I'll offer them a 50-cent an hour raise.
Good.
Yeah, Mr. Erickson, such a raise will break minimum wage and cost Erickson Enterprises a fortune. It's a bad idea.
Not really, Mr. Buckley. You see, the added salary will be an incentive. Besides, see, my new computerization will save us on overtime. The new traffic flow will save us on loss and breakage. And the new ad patterns will save us on advertising costs. All in all, we'll come out ahead, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, Ted, you don't belong here.
But that made a lot of sense.
Of course it did. He belongs where Roger is. Now, don't panic, Roger. You see, you've got a lot to learn about people, but we can use your brain, and I'm going to give you your own office with your own little desk. Big desk.
To Mr. Erickson.
Not as big as yours.
Hey, can anybody help me, or is all this stuff free?
All right, let's roll up our sleeves. Get cracking there, Roger.
Sir, I don't wait on customers.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yes, I do.
All right, you too.
But I was fired.
You're rehired.
How about the raise?
Oh, you've got it.
Barbara, now that I'm going to be up at headquarters, how about a date with me one night?
Oh, Ted, you're too young.
Okay. Maybe when I become chairman of the board?
Maybe. You'll be 17 by then.
You any good at Spanish?
Ah, caramba, I'm good at Spanish. I had 2 años of it in high escuela. Let me see your problem.
What's this mean in English?
Oh, I would like to eat some buildings.
I would like to eat some buildings.
Wrong, huh?
Yeah, unless Godzilla wrote this. I'm not gonna worry about Spanish. I have more important things to worry about.
Like what?
My dad. It's been rough on him ever since the divorce.
Okay, Alex, what's the matter?
Well, he's out looking for a new apartment, right?
Yeah.
He's not gonna find anything decent. Not with what he's got to spend on rent.
Yeah, but don't forget, my mom's helping him look. She can be a real tightwad. You know those soap slivers that everybody usually throws away? Well, she presses them together. We've got Irish camé that floats.
I'm serious, Barbara. I mean, my dad could solve the whole thing if he just moved back in with Mom. Well, he'd be better off than he is now. Always worrying, looking like he's gonna cry. He's so sad.
He hides his grief very well.
We did home.
Oh, guess where we've been?
Duck hunting.
The carnival.
How come I didn't get to go, Dad?
Oh, it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing, you know. We were out apartment hunting, and we just bumped into this carnival. Your dad thought maybe he could find a tent to rent.
And she's angry at me because I guessed her weight.
Oh, what'd you win?
Kick in the shins, he guessed 500 pounds.
Dad, it's just as well you didn't find an apartment. I have an idea.
May I enter?
Do we have a choice?
Don't fool around. I got bad news. Brace yourselves.
What is it, Schneider?
You braced?
Schneider, we're braced.
Mrs. Ferraro died this morning.
Mrs. Ferraro?
The old lady in 507.
Oh, she's the lady with the parakeet, isn't she? Oh, Schneider, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so am I. She was sick for a long time, though. I tell you something, though. She really loved that parakeet.
Oh, did she live alone?
Yeah, just her and the parakeet, 'cause he's an orphan now.
Poor little green guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take out a for rent, Dad. 2-bedroom apartment with a view and a grieving parakeet.
2-bedroom apartment, huh? Well, you know, Schneider, I happen to be a bird lover.
Since when?
Since Mrs. Ferraro died.
I don't believe this. You no respect for the dead?
Well, Schneider, I want a place badly, and I promise I'll take good care of the bird.
Well, Nick, are you sure that's such a good idea?
Come on, Mom. It's a parakeet, not a vulture.
I mean, moving into the building.
She may be right, Dad.
Alex, you're gonna have your own room. Annie will help us decorate it.
I will.
Annie, are you against me moving into the building?
No, Nick. I'm not really against you. It scares me.
Listen to her, Dad.
Yeah, I'm trying to, Alex. What scares you?
All right, we work together. We play together. If you move into this building, we'll practically be living together. We'll really find out about each other.
I can see it coming. You get the man and I get the bird.
Annie, what's wrong with really getting to know each other?
The truth?
Yes, the truth.
Okay. I thought I was doing just great alone, and it's wonderful. You know, the two of us. I don't want anything to spoil it.
Well, nothing's gonna spoil it.
How can you be sure?
Well, there are no guarantees on anything. Let's just dive right in and take a chance. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Hi there, Miss Romano.
Hi there, Schneider. How was Mrs. Ferraro's funeral?
Oh, it was terrific. I gotta tell you, those Italians, they really know how to throw a wake. I mean, there was crowds of people and music and praying. My gosh, I had so much food. They must have had 47 kinds of pasta. It was linguine, fettuccine, vermicelli, tortellini, rigatoni. Sounds like the offensive line for Notre Dame. Boy, did they have a lot to drink, too. I had to send a parakeet home in a taxi. Got your pants on inside out there.
Yeah, I know, Schneider. It's easier to pin him this way.
Last time I had my pants on inside out, I was ducking out of the window of the ladies' gym at the San Diego Naval Base. So tell me, Andrus get moved in all right?
Yeah, he's almost all settled.
You know, I don't know if I should mention this. I mean, it's none of my business.
Never stopped you before.
I don't think it's right for you and your business partner to be cohabitating together in the same domicile.
Schneider, we're both mature people, okay?
Yeah, well, anyway, let me give you a little advice. And this is advice from my own personal observation of Mother Nature in the raw. To wit, the tragedy of Willie and Wally.
Oh, no, Schneider, I'm not gonna bite. Yeah, okay, so what about Willie and Wally?
They were my own personal pair of pygmy guinea pigs.
Oh, I knew I shouldn't have asked.
Willie and Wally were playmates, but they lived in their own separate little sleeping quarters. Well, one day I decided to make them roommates. It was not a good idea. Willie ate Wally.
Thank you, Schneider. I'll treasure that.
Just a word to the wise. I'll get the door.
Hi, Schneider.
Hi, Willie.
Never mind.
Look, Andrus, now that you moved in, maybe I should remind you of some of the basic house rules, okay?
Sure.
No loud music, no skateboards, no barbecuing on the fire escapes, no running back and forth between the apartments and your skivvies, and absolutely no orgies unless you coordinate it with the super.
My turn? I have 2 dripping faucets, a faulty light switch, a stuck window, buckled linoleum in the kitchen, a hall that needs painting, and a shelf in a broom closet that looks like it was put up by a drunken sailor.
You're off to a bad start. Ms. Romano? Willie and Wally?
No, never mind. Really, please.
Annie, it is such a great apartment.
Oh, I'm so glad. I hope Alex likes the wallpaper I picked out
Yeah,
for
I'm
him.
sure he will. And you, my dear, are invited for dinner up at my place. I got a casserole in the oven. Carbonade à la bœuf flamande.
Oh, no, beef stew again?
Well, now, that's what I call a kiss. Turned your pants inside out.
Barbara, can't you cough before you come in? I always do.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Nick.
What?
Here.
What? Oh.
For your apartment.
Oh, what a beautiful azalea.
Oh, Nick.
Oh.
Do me a favor, huh?
What?
Don't cry into it.
Okay.
I just finished watering it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna go check.
All right, thanks a lot. Oh. Barbara, I want to ask you something. I'm planning this kind of romantic dinner, you know, candlelight and wine.
Oh, Nick, just you and Mom and me and Alex.
What?
No, I'm kidding. As soon as I take my bath, I'm leaving.
Great. Oh, see, I want to ask you, I know these guys, and they pick up a few extra bucks. They're kind of gypsy violinists, and I wondered, do you think your mother would like...
Gypsy violinist?
Right.
Oh, Nick, that's the hokiest, most outdated, corniest thing I've ever heard. She'll love it.
Thank you.
Hi, Alex. Come on in.
Alex, I thought you were supposed to watch the casserole.
It didn't leave. It's still in the oven.
I better go watch it. I'll be right back, okay?
Did you see the plant that my mom got for your dad? It's nice, huh?
Who needs it?
Hi, Alex. You like your room?
It's a room.
Talk about unbridled enthusiasm.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get ready.
Okay. Hey, Alex, you hungry? You want something to eat? I'll fix you something. You have time before your bus.
Look, I know how much time I have before my bus. Don't worry. I'll be out of your way before you have your private dinner with Dad.
No, Alex, I don't mean to rush you. Okay.
Oh, I gotta put the casserole in the oven. Ooh!
What's the matter?
Oh, I think I used the wrong paint for my kitchen. Oh, those fumes are getting to me. I must be allergic to them. Ooh, $3.75.
Got it. Well, we can have dinner here.
Oh, good. I think we better keep the plant down here also. Alex, did you see the plant Danny got us? Isn't it beautiful? Boy, I hope I can sleep tonight.
Oh, you don't have to sleep in your apartment.
Oh, good. Oh, I almost forgot. I gotta get something. I'll be right back. Alex, you got your bus fare? Alex, you all right? You getting the flu?
No, I'm okay.
You sure? How about a big hug for your old pop, huh? Come here. Why don't you come over tomorrow night? We'll watch the Late Show together, okay? Okay,
Oh,
bye-bye.
Nick, you might as well take my keys. Let yourself back in.
All right.
Oh.
You're really something, you know that?
Alex, what's the matter? Huh? What's wrong?
You think I don't know what's going on, Mrs. Annie Takeover? You got my dad to live in your building. Now he's cooking in your kitchen. He's going to be eating at your table, and tonight he's going to be sleeping in your bed.
Hold on, Alex.
I'm leaving.
No, Alex, look, I really don't want you to leave like this, okay? Let's talk.
Just get out of my way.
No.
Look, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to do one thing while you're concerned.
Alex. Hey, Alex. Alex.
Alex, what are you doing in here? Don't turn around!
You know, Barbara, this isn't funny.
Tell me about it. Look, here, Alex. Not here! Oh. Look, how long do you plan on staying?
Maybe forever.
No. See, dear, I want you out of here before puberty. Okay, Alex, what's the matter?
She's just ruining everything.
Who?
Your mom. But she's not going to get away with it.
Oh, there we go. Oh, come in. We're just getting ready for the sing-along.
Okay, Alex, come on. Let's talk.
Look, the only one I'm talking to is my dad.
Not in here, I hope.
Look, I don't think that your dad is going to be too thrilled with your behavior.
And maybe he's not going to be too thrilled with yours.
What? You guys, I'm beginning to pucker.
Right, sweetheart. Okay, come on, Alex, let's go. Let's try to have a civilized conversation, huh?
I don't want a civilized conversation.
Don't knock it till you've tried it, kid. Let's go.
Alex, when you speak of this, and you will, be kind. Close the door.
Okay, Alex, your father should be coming back soon. Think we can have this cleared up before then?
It's all cleared up now.
Look, Alex, whatever is bothering you is very important to me.
Okay, I'll tell you. You bother me.
I see. Well, I guess if we stretch a point, we could call that a beginning.
Or an ending.
Alex, your father and I...
Look, just don't say that, okay? There is no my father and you. There's my father and me, and my father and my mom. You're out of it.
I care about you. I care about your father.
Nobody asked you to.
He did.
He did not. Just butt out of our life.
Alex, please be kidding, huh?
Kidding? You think I'm kidding? Well, let me tell you something. I hate this building, and I hate his new apartment that you decorated.
I was being helpful.
You were butting in.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. You were butting in, taking over.
Look, Alex, you are being unfair. You are being totally unfair. You're acting like a brat, a spoiled, rotten, obnoxious brat. And maybe I damn well better take over because it doesn't look like your mother or father are doing a very good job.
I hate you. I hate you.
Alex!
I hate you. And if you were such a great mother, how come your kids dropped out of school and ran away, huh?
Alex!
Oh, hey! Be my love!
Dad, she hit me.
She what?
She slapped me.
You slapped Alex?
Nick.
Now, just let me get this straight, Annie. You slapped Alex?
Yes, I did.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Hold it, Nick.
Oh, you hold it. What are you, some kind of lunatic?
Look, there's a reason.
A reason for what, Annie? To smack my kid? His mother never smacked him like that. I never smacked him like that.
Maybe you should have.
Daddy, come on, let's just get out of here.
Okay, Alex, come on. Where's your jacket?
Nick,
Left
please.
it in the bathroom.
Okay, I'll get it.
Nick, would you let me Nick! Oh.
What are you doing? Selling tickets?
Sorry, Barbara.
Daddy, let's just get out of here.
Jacket.
Come on, don't you want to stay for the second show?
Barbara. Nick, please, would you let me explain?
Some other time, Annie. Oh, no.
Who the hell are they?
They are my romantic surprise. Some romantic evening, you beating up my kid.
Nick, it wasn't like that, and you were just Look, fellas.
Who broke the plant? Come on, Dad, let's just get out of here.
Okay.
Damn it, Nick, no, I deserve a chance to explain.
Annie, I don't even know. Could you please stop it, please? Just stop. Thank you. All right, Annie, you want to explain? Explain.
Okay, Nick.
Annie, what happened? We were going to have a romantic dinner. We were going to have candlelight and wine and music. I was going to tell you... Please, stop it. No more music, please.
You promised us $50.
Yes, you're right. Here we go. I did. Here you go. 20, 40, and 50. Thank you.
Oh, you got another 20 minutes coming.
We don't need it.
Push over, huh?
Nick, if you would listen, you probably would be singing another tune. Would you get out of here?
Oh, he's got a live one there.
Okay, Annie, tell me.
Dad, she hit me. What else do you have to know?
Alex, I have to know why.
I broke the plant. The one she gave you.
You broke our plant? Why?
Nick, I went nuts and slapped him because... It's all so damn complicated. Alex has been trying very, very hard not to like me.
Oh, come on, Annie. That's crazy. Alex likes you. Don't you like her, Alex?
No. I don't. Dad, can't you see? She's running your whole life. She's changing everything. And that stinks.
Alex?
Dad, she's ruining everything.
Alex? Was it better when I was miserable?
Yeah.
I think what Alex is trying to say, Nick, is that if you're happy with my mother, you probably won't be going back to his mother.
Dad, I just want things to be the way they were.
Oh. sorry. They can't be.
Not ever.
No, son, not ever. See, things between me and your mother, they just changed. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't mine. It certainly wasn't yours, sweetheart. I want you to know that. It wasn't your fault. It just happened. And it happened long before I met Annie.
Dad, I want to go home.
Okay, I know. Let's go. Come on.
Alex. I'm real sorry for everything. See, what your father and I feel for each other is still very new and fragile, and you have the ability to break a lot more than a plant. Can you understand that?
Annie, I'll talk to you later, okay? Come on.
No, that was a good thing. It was. I mean, Alex and I got a lot of things off of our chest and things that have been bothering us. And I really think that we're going to be a lot closer now.
Maybe.
No, really, Barbara. I mean, the pain of his father and his mother breaking up, he'll get over that.
No, he won't.
Yes, Barbara, he will. I mean, Alex is an emotionally healthy, he's an intelligent, he's an adaptable boy. I mean, it's going to take time, but he'll get over it.
Mom, as far as his folks' divorce is concerned, someday Alex will understand it, and he'll accept it, and he'll live with it. But he's never going to get over it.
The science project that would not stay dead, plants, volcanoes and the first taste of shame. I still hear the cafeteria noise underneath the first exchange even though the script never names the place. The scrape of trays, the low hum of fluorescent lights that always seemed a little too green, the way adolescent voices rose and fell in waves of forced indifference. Alex sits across from Barbara and the conversation begins with something as ordinary as food. Yet already the air is thick with the particular dread that only a school project can generate when the deadline has been ignored for weeks. I know that dread in my bones. I once sat at a similar table staring at a half-eaten sandwich while calculating how many hours of sleep I could sacrifice and still look presentable the next morning. The body remembers the calculation long after the mind has forgotten the subject. Barbara's concern about the chemicals and preservatives lands with a gentle, almost maternal weight that the script underplays. She is not merely teasing, she is performing the role of the older sister who has already survived the same institutional machinery and is now watching a younger boy walk straight into its gears. When she says the stuff will kill him in 20 or 30 years, the line carries more than health advice. It carries the faint bitterness of someone who has already begun to measure time in terms of what the adult world will take from you. I think of my own older cousin who used the same tone whenever I reached for another bag of chips. A tone that mixed genuine care with the quiet satisfaction of having already been warned herself. The warning was never only about the food, it was about the larger appetite for ease. The appetite that later would make a boy buy 2 plants of different sizes and call it an experiment. Alex's admission that he has been busy with baseball and track and hanging out with the guys is delivered with the practiced shrug of a child who has already learned which excuses adults will accept. The phrase hanging out with the guys still echoes in me like a password that once unlocked entire afternoons of aimless freedom. I used those exact words more times than I care to count, and every time I spoke them I felt a small private triumph mixed with a deeper unease. The triumph came from protecting the sacred territory of unstructured time. The unease came from knowing that the territory was already shrinking, that the school calendar and the parental calendar were quietly annexing it. When Barbara answers that school can get in the way of important things, the irony is soft but lethal. She is both mocking and recognizing the hierarchy of values that adolescence constructs for itself. In that hierarchy, friendship and physical competence rank higher than any grade, at least until the moment the grade becomes a weapon in a father's hand. The suggestion of the talking to plants experiment arrives like a gift that is already slightly spoiled. Barbara describes it with the half-embarrassed pride of someone who once believed the experiment might prove something profound and then discovered that the only thing it proved was her own forgetfulness. The plant she talked to died because she forgot to water it. That single detail still undoes me. I have killed plants the same way. Not through malice but through the slow leakage of attention that adolescence specializes in. You speak to the leaves with genuine intention one afternoon, then the next 3 afternoons vanish into practice or television or the complicated social negotiations of the hallway, and suddenly, the leaves are brown and the experiment has become a quiet accusation. Barbara's joke about hearing a tiny ouch when she pinched a leaf is funny on the surface. Yet underneath it lies the first crack of shame. The plant could not speak, but the boy who later inherits the idea already senses that something living has been asked to perform and then abandoned. Alex's immediate leap to the practical solution, buy a large plant and a small plant, and claim the difference is the result of conversation, reveals the particular genius of the child, who has already calculated the minimum viable product of honesty. The script lets the moment pass quickly, yet I cannot. I remember the exact texture of that calculation, the way the mind races through possible objections, the way it weighs the risk of being caught against the relief of finishing the assignment. There is a specific coldness that settles in the chest when you decide that the appearance of effort is more valuable than the effort itself. Alex has not yet learned to hate that coldness. He still treats it as cleverness. The coldness will grow warmer with guilt later, but for now it is simply strategy. When Schneider appears and finds Alex talking to a plant, the physical comedy is pure, almost balletic. The double take, the slow recognition that the boy is serious, the exaggerated concern that a few years of analysis will restore the plant to health, all of it is classic sitcom architecture. Yet underneath the architecture I hear something else. Schneider's laughter is the laughter of a man who has never been allowed to take his own loneliness seriously enough to name it. He has spent years turning every private ache into a public joke so that no one will notice the ache. Watching him watch Alex talk to a plant, I feel the sudden unexpected kinship between the boy who is cheating and the man who has spent a lifetime performing competence. Both of them are trying to make something live that does not want to live on the terms being offered. The volcano sequence arrives with the particular cruelty of parental disappointment. Nick's first look at the papier-mâché cone is the look of a man who has already decided that the object in front of him is evidence of a deeper character flaw. The wet lava that still glistens like cadmium red is both comic and tragic. I can smell the paint, the slightly sweet chemical smell that once filled my own bedroom when I tried to finish a model the night before it was due. The report that accompanies the volcano is pure encyclopedia, and Nick's quiet interrogation of the language tranquilly discharge explosive liberation fragmental material is one of the most precisely observed moments of pedagogical violence I have ever encountered on television. He does not raise his voice. He simply holds the words up to the light and asks whether they belong to the boy. The question is not really about plagiarism. It is about ownership of effort. It is about whether the child is willing to inhabit his own mind long enough to produce something that cannot be purchased or copied. Nick's declaration that Alex always takes the easy way is spoken with the particular weariness of a father who recognizes his own younger self and hates what he sees. I have heard that sentence in other mouths, including my own father's, and every time it was spoken it carried the same double cargo of love and condemnation. The love wanted the child to become stronger. The condemnation already assumed the child preferred weakness. The two emotions cannot be separated once they have been braided together that tightly. Alex's protest that he tried is met with the crushing correction that trying is precisely what he did not do. The correction lands like a small private execution. I still flinch when I hear it because I once stood in the same position holding a project that looked finished but was not, and feeling the ground open under my feet. Schneider's intervention is both comic and heartbreaking. His claim that kids try harder with encouragement is the wisdom of a man who has never been a father and therefore still believes that encouragement is enough. Nick's reply that Alex is a goof-off who once brought shredded wheat to a farm project is the wisdom of a man who has been a father long enough to stop believing in pure encouragement. Between the two men stands the boy, already learning that the adults around him cannot agree on what kind of help he needs. The workshop offer is accepted with the reluctant gratitude of someone who knows the help will come with conditions. The power tools are off limits. The floor must be cleaned. Broken tools mean exile. The rules are clear, almost military. Schneider delivers them with the cheerful severity of a man who has spent his life making rules for other people's children because he has none of his own to make rules for. The windmill idea emerges from the same desperate creativity that once led me to invent elaborate explanations for unfinished work. Alex wants something that looks impressive yet can be assembled quickly. Schneider's refusal to design it for him is the first genuine act of mentorship in the entire sequence. He will teach the boy how to saw, how to apply pressure evenly, how not to fight the tool. The lesson is physical and therefore more honest than any lecture about character. I can feel the grain of the wood under my own palms as I write this. I can hear the rhythmic 1 to 2 of the saw. For a few moments, the boy and the man are joined in the simple wordless labor of making something that did not exist before. That labor is the closest the episode comes to grace. When the finished windmill is presented and Nick discovers how much of it is Schneider's work, the confrontation that follows is almost unbearable in its clarity. Nick's philosophy is stark: he is helping his son by not helping him. Schneider's counter-philosophy is equally stark: that is the dumbest thing he has ever heard. Between them, the boy stands silent, already calculating which adult he will disappoint less. The argument about diapers is both absurd and profound. Schneider's memory of his own father helping him is the memory of a tenderness that Nick has decided is dangerous. Tenderness in Nick's view produces soft children. Soft children become soft men. Soft men fail. The equation is brutal and in the cultural climate of the early 1980s widely shared. I grew up under a milder version of the same equation and I still carry the bruise of it. The decision to force Alex to rebuild the volcano in 48 hours is the moment the shame becomes fully embodied. Sleep is optional. Baseball, basketball, movies, television, all of them are suspended indefinitely. The threat is total. Forever or longer. The phrase still chills me. Forever is a word adults use when they want children to feel the full weight of consequence without having to calculate the actual duration. Alex's quiet "yes sir" is the sound of a boy who has already begun to disappear inside the demand. The improved volcano that finally appears is technically superior: lights, battery switch, carefully arranged lava, but the superiority is secondary. What matters is that the boy has been forced to inhabit the work long enough to feel something like pride. The pride is fragile and already mixed with residual resentment, yet it is real. When Alex admits that the project became fun once he got started, the admission is the first true educational moment of the entire arc. The fun was always available. The boy simply did not know how to reach it without external pressure so intense it bordered on cruelty. I keep returning to the wet lava that first disappointed Nick. That glistening red surface is the perfect emblem of the entire sequence. It looks finished. It is not. It is still wet, still vulnerable to the touch, still capable of being smeared by the slightest pressure. Alex's early projects are all wet lava. The talking plants, the party hat volcano, the half-stolen windmill, each of them is an attempt to present something solid while the interior remains unfinished. Nick's refusal to accept the wetness is both necessary and almost unbearable. He forces the boy to wait until the surface hardens, until the work can be touched without smearing. In doing so, he teaches a lesson that no amount of encouragement could have taught. The lesson is costly. It costs sleep, it costs pleasure, it costs the easy companionship of friends. It may even cost a portion of the boy's trust in the man who demands it. Yet the alternative is a lifetime of wet surfaces that never quite dry. I have carried my own wet projects for years, projects that looked complete from a distance and collapsed under the lightest scrutiny. Watching Alex learn to hate the wetness is like watching a younger version of myself finally understand why the adults kept insisting on something I could not yet name. The name is integrity, but integrity is too clean a word for what actually happens. What happens is closer to a slow, reluctant inhabitation of one's own effort. The body has to stay in the room with the work long enough for the work to become part of the body. Once that happens, the shame of the easy way begins to feel heavier than the labor of the hard way. Alex is only beginning to feel that shift. The volcano with lights is the first object that carries some of his actual weight. It is still imperfect. It is still partly an answer to a threat, but it is no longer pure wetness. Something has begun to dry. The sequence ends with the telephone call that will pull Nick and Anne into the larger moral crisis of the advertising account, yet the emotional residue of the science project remains. The boy has been forced through a narrow gate. On the other side of the gate is a slightly different relationship to time to effort, to the difference between looking finished and being finished. I do not know whether the difference will last. Adolescence is full of temporary conversions. But for a few hours, inside the workshop and later, inside the improved volcano, Alex has touched the edge of something that cannot be bought or copied. The edge is sharp, it cuts, and the blood that appears is for once not theatrical lava. It is the quieter evidence that something living has finally been asked to stay awake. I can still smell the sawdust that never quite settled in Schneider's workshop, even though the script never describes the air. It is the particular smell of wood that has been cut too quickly and left slightly damp, mixed with the metallic tang of tools that have been handled by many hands and never quite cleaned. That smell once filled the basement of a house I knew in another city, a place where a man who was not my father tried to teach me how to square a joint. I failed him then the way Alex fails Nick now. Not through lack of intelligence, but through a deeper resistance to the idea that anything worth making must first be made slowly. The resistance feels almost physical, a tightening in the chest that arrives the moment an adult says the work must be original. Nick's insistence that the project belong entirely to Alex is not simply pedagogical. It is a private theology of self-reliance, dressed in the language of fatherhood. When he says he is helping his son by not helping him, the sentence lands with the force of a doctrine that has already been tested on earlier children and found wanting, yet is still clung to because the alternative feels like surrender. I have watched men of that generation deliver the same doctrine with the same quiet intensity. They had been raised on the belief that softness was a kind of moral failure, that any assistance beyond the most minimal instruction would produce a child incapable of standing alone. The belief was never purely cruel. It contained a genuine fear that the world would eventually arrive with sharper teeth than any father could blunt. Nick's version of the fear is sharpened by the recent fracture of his own marriage. He is a man who has already lost one version of family and is now terrified of losing the only remaining leverage he has over his son's character. The workshop itself becomes a kind of secular confessional. Schneider offers the space with the casual generosity of a man who has too much empty time and not enough people to fill it. The power tools are forbidden. The floor must be kept clean. A broken tool means exile. These rules are delivered with the cheerful severity of someone who has spent years making rules for other people's children because the universe never gave him any of his own. I recognize the particular loneliness inside that cheerfulness. It is the loneliness of the competent bachelor who has turned his competence into a public performance so that no one will notice how rarely anyone asks him for anything that cannot be fixed with a wrench. When Schneider places his hands over Alex's on the saw and demonstrates the even pressure, the physical contact is more intimate than either of them will ever acknowledge. The man is teaching the boy how not to fight the tool, yet the deeper lesson is about how not to fight the work itself. The lesson is offered without language because language would make the tenderness too visible. Alex's early attempts at the windmill are pure theater of the half-committed. He wants the propeller, the flag, the visible evidence of ingenuity, yet he still hopes the ingenuity can be borrowed. When he tries to trick Schneider into designing the mechanism, the refusal is gentle but absolute. Schneider will not become the invisible co-author. The refusal is the first true gift the older man gives. Most adults in Alex's life have already begun to complete his sentences, finish his thoughts. Supply the missing effort, Schneider declines. The decline forces the boy to stay inside the problem longer than he wants to. I remember the exact sensation of that forced staying. It feels like being held underwater by someone who insists you will eventually learn to breathe there. The panic is real. The eventual breath when it comes is also real, though it arrives mixed with resentment. Nick's discovery that Schneider has done quite a bit of the work detonates the carefully maintained peace of the household. The phrase "quite a bit" is itself a masterpiece of adolescent understatement. It is the language of a boy who already knows the truth will be unbearable and is trying to ration it. Nick's response is not rage so much as a cold, precise disappointment that feels worse than anger. He has asked for originality and received collaboration. In his moral economy, the collaboration is a form of theft. The boy has stolen the satisfaction that was supposed to belong only to himself. Schneider's defense that the kid was dying for help that fathers are supposed to help collides with Nick's counter-doctrine like two irreconcilable religions. The argument about diapers is both ridiculous and devastating. Schneider's memory of a father who helped him change is the memory of a tenderness Nick has decided is dangerous. Tenderness, in Nick's view, produces dependency. Dependency produces failure. The equation is airtight inside his mind and almost unbearable to watch from the outside. I have stood in rooms where similar equations were being enforced. The air always grew thinner. The child at the center of the argument became strangely still, as if movement itself might attract further judgment. Alex's temporary exile upstairs is the formal acknowledgement that the adults must now decide his fate without him present. The decision is already made before he leaves the room. He will rebuild. He will rebuild under threat of total loss: baseball, basketball, movies, television. Everything that makes the days feel livable. The threat of forever or longer is the particular cruelty of parental rhetoric that refuses to calculate actual time. Forever is a word used when the parent needs the child to feel the full metaphysical weight of consequence. I still hear that word in my own childhood spoken over smaller crimes, and the sound of it still produces a faint nausea. The 48-hour deadline is both practical and symbolic. It is practical because the project is due. It is symbolic because it compresses the entire philosophy of self-reliance into a single, almost sadistic interval. Sleep becomes optional. Pleasure becomes conditional. The boy is to be remade in the image of a worker who does not negotiate with his own resistance. When Anne tries to intervene, suggesting that the original volcano idea was fine and only the execution was lacking, Nick shuts her down with the same quiet absolutism he uses on his son. The marriage between Nick and Anne is still new enough that the difference in their parenting philosophies has not yet been fully tested. This is the test. Anne's instinct is to protect the child's remaining energy. Nick's instinct is to spend that energy ruthlessly in the service of character. The collision is intimate and public at the same time, the way so many domestic collisions become when children are the stakes. What strikes me most even after all these years is the absence of any real curiosity on Nick's part about why the easy way keeps calling to his son. The script allows Schneider and Anne to raise the question, but Nick treats the question itself as a form of weakness. To ask why would be to open the possibility that the boy's resistance has causes deeper than simple laziness. It might have something to do with the recent rearrangement of the family. The sudden appearance of a new woman in the father's life, the slow realization that the old configuration of mother and father is permanently gone. Nick cannot afford that inquiry. The inquiry would require him to look at his own role in the boy's disorientation. It is easier to treat the problem as a failure of will and to prescribe more will as the cure. The rebuilt volcano that finally appears is technically superior light's battery switch, carefully arranged rock, but the superiority is almost beside the point. What matters is the cost at which it was purchased. The boy has been forced to stay inside the work long enough for the work to begin to inhabit him. When he admits that the project became fun once he got started, the admission is the first crack in the armor of resistance. The fun was always available. He simply did not know how to reach it without external pressure so intense it bordered on violence. I have known that same delayed arrival of pleasure. It comes after the resentment has been spent, after the body has finally surrendered to the rhythm of the task. The surrender feels like a small death and a small rebirth at the same time. Nick's pride in the finished object is real, yet it is also carefully rationed. He will not allow the pride to become pure celebration because celebration might undo the lesson must remain sharp. The boy must continue to feel that the easy way is a form of moral failure. I watch that rationing of pride and feel a complicated grief. The grief is for the child who will never quite trust that his best effort will be met with uncomplicated joy. It is also for the father who has convinced himself that uncomplicated joy is a luxury the world will not permit. Between them stands the unfinished education of a boy who keeps losing versions of fatherhood and is now being asked to manufacture a version of himself that can survive the losses. The workshop sequence ends, but the demand for original work does not. It becomes a permanent atmospheric pressure inside the family. Every subsequent choice Alex makes will be measured against the standard Nick has set in that sawdust-filled room. The standard is both a gift and a wound. The gift is the knowledge that effort can produce something that cannot be purchased. The wound is the knowledge that the people who love you most may require that effort at a cost you are not yet prepared to pay. I still carry both the gift and the wound from my own versions of that room. The sawdust never quite leaves the lungs. The demand for originality never quite softens into something a child can meet without bleeding a little. And the man who makes the demand never quite sees how much of the bleeding is being done in his name. I have never been able to watch Schneider place his hands over a child's hands on a tool without feeling a corresponding pressure in my own palms. The gesture is so ordinary that the script almost lets it pass as pure comedy, yet it contains an entire unspoken curriculum. The man is teaching the boy how to saw, how to apply equal pressure, how not to fight the blade, but the deeper instruction is about how to remain inside a difficulty without fleeing into performance or complaint. I once had a neighbor who taught me the same lesson over a broken lawnmower, a man whose own children lived in another state and who therefore practiced fatherhood on whatever boy happened to be standing in his garage. The memory of those hands still arrives with the smell of oil and the particular silence that falls when an adult decides for a few minutes to take a child's struggle seriously. Schneider's workshop is less a room than a carefully maintained fiction of usefulness. Every tool has its place. Every surface can be cleaned. The power tools remain forbidden not only for safety but because the prohibition itself creates a boundary that feels like care. Inside that boundary, the man can offer something he has never been allowed to offer on a permanent basis: sustained wordless attention. When he tells Alex to relax the muscles to let the saw do the work, the instruction is physical and therefore more honest than any speech about character. The body learns before the mind consents. I remember the exact moment my own shoulders dropped under similar guidance, the sudden discovery that resistance had been costing more energy than the task itself. Alex's laughter when the blade finally bites cleanly is the laughter of a boy who has been given a small private victory that cannot be taken away by any subsequent parental judgment. The particular loneliness inside Schneider's competence has always moved me more than the jokes that surround it. He is the man who can fix the sink, the lock, the broken shelf, yet cannot fix the larger vacancy that keeps him circulating through other people's families. His claim that nothing is invented by one person anymore, that truth is a matter of opinion, is both a comic rationalization for having helped with the windmill and a quiet confession of how he understands belonging. Belonging, for him, is collaborative. It is the shared labor that momentarily dissolves the difference between the man who lives alone and the boy who is only visiting. When he tells Alex to think of him as Uncle Schneider, the title is offered with a lightness that barely conceals its hunger. I have known men who distributed unclehood the same way, scattering provisional kinship wherever a child seemed willing to receive it. The scattering was never purely altruistic. It was also a way of keeping the possibility of being needed alive. Nick's refusal to accept that help is the collision of two incompatible theories of love. One theory insists that love withholds so that the child may become strong. The other theory insists that love intervenes so that the child may not break. Schneider's version is messier, more embodied, less interested in the long-term production of character than in the immediate relief of a boy who is drowning in a deadline. When he argues that no project in that science class was made entirely by the child alone, he is speaking from the practical knowledge of a man who has watched many children struggle and has never been able to watch without reaching out a hand. The argument about diapers is absurd on its surface and almost unbearable underneath. Schneider's memory of a father who helped him is the memory of a tenderness that was never framed as a threat to future independence. Nick hears that memory as sentimental weakness. The two men cannot share the same moral weather. Between them, the boy stands very still, already learning that the adults who claim to care for him cannot agree on the form that care should take. I keep returning to the moment Schneider demonstrates the saw stroke 1-2-1-2 and the way Alex's body gradually finds the rhythm. There is something sacred in that transfer of knowledge that requires no language. The sacredness is temporary. It will be interrupted by Nick's discovery and by the subsequent demand that the boy start over. Yet, for the duration of the lesson, the workshop becomes a small republic in which usefulness is the only citizenship required. Schneider's cheerful threats if you break a tool you leave town, or the playful scaffolding of a man who has never had the authority to issue permanent exile and therefore practices the milder version. The playfulness is a form of protection. It keeps the deeper loneliness from becoming visible enough to frighten the child. What the script never shows but what I always feel is the quiet that must have fallen after Alex left the workshop that night. Schneider alone again among the tools, the sawdust needing to be swept, the temporary nephew returned to the more complicated jurisdiction of actual blood. I have sat in similar quiets. The tools do not speak, the work that was shared for an hour does not continue itself. The man who has just been useful must now invent another reason to be needed, or else face the vacancy that usefulness was designed to fill. Schneider's later appearance with the framed newspaper advertisement is another version of the same gesture, the offering of something made, something preserved, something that says I was here and I noticed. The offering is always slightly too much and never quite enough. Alex's relationship to Schneider is the relationship of a child who keeps being given provisional fathers and keeps losing them to the more permanent claims of biology or romance or simple geography. Schneider cannot compete with Nick's authority, yet he can offer something Nick has decided is dangerous: the experience of being helped without being diminished. That experience is rare enough that the boy will carry it longer than either adult expects. I carried similar experiences from the men who were not my father, and the carrying was never simple. Gratitude mixed with a low-grade guilt, as if accepting the help were a form of disloyalty to the man whose name I bore. Alex already shows the early signs of that mixture when he tries to protect Schneider from Nick's anger. The protection is clumsy and immediately overruled, yet it reveals that the boy has already begun to love the man who taught him how to saw. The education Schneider offers is not the education of self-reliance. It is the education of shared labor, of the knowledge that most things worth making are made with other hands nearby. In the cultural climate of the early 1980s, that knowledge was already becoming unfashionable. The official story preferred the solitary achiever, the boy who needed no one. Schneider's entire presence is a quiet refutation of that story. He refutes it with his body, with his willingness to get sawdust on his clothes, with his readiness to be ridiculous if ridiculousness will keep a child from drowning. The refutation is never theoretical. It is practical and therefore harder to dismiss. I think often of the flag that Schneider refuses to place on the windmill. He insists the boy must finish what he started. The insistence is the closest he comes to Nick's philosophy, yet even here the tone is different. Nick's version of finishing is enforced by the threat of total loss. Schneider's version is enforced by the milder pressure of someone who simply will not complete the gesture for you. The difference is the difference between coercion and accompaniment. One leaves the child alone with the demand. The other stays in the room while the demand is being met. I know which one I preferred as a boy. I also know which one the official culture kept insisting was the only legitimate form of love. When the windmill is finally rejected and the boy is sent back to the volcano under the 48-hour sentence, Schneider's role contracts again to the margins. He is allowed to hover to offer cookies to make jokes about the lava, but he is no longer permitted to place his hands over the child's hands. The prohibition is never spoken, yet it is absolute. The temporary uncle has been reminded of the limits of his kinship. I feel those limits as a kind of weather that settles over the rest of the episode. Schneider will continue to appear, will continue to joke, will continue to make himself useful in smaller ways, but the particular intimacy of the saw lesson will not be repeated. The boy has been returned to the stricter jurisdiction. The man who briefly interrupted that jurisdiction must now resume his place among the tools and the unfinished repairs. And still the hands remain in my memory. The way they guided without forcing, the way they demonstrated that pressure could be equal and still effective, the way they offered for a short while the experience of not having to invent everything alone. In a series that is otherwise full of people demanding originality as a form of moral hygiene, Schneider's hands propose a different hygiene, the hygiene of shared weight of labor that does not have to be solitary in order to be real. I have spent years trying to decide which hygiene I believe in more. The decision remains unfinished. The sawdust, however, is permanent. It settles in the lungs and never quite leaves. Every time I watch those hands close over a child's hands on a tool, I feel the same quiet education beginning again, an education that has nothing to do with science projects and everything to do with the long, unfinished work of learning how to stay in the room when the work gets hard and someone is willing to stay there with you. I can still feel the particular humidity of that rented office, the way the air seemed to thicken whenever the possibility of real money entered the room. The script never names the temperature, yet I know the weather of early success that has not yet become stable. It is the weather of people who have recently climbed out of the unemployment line and are still surprised to find themselves answering telephones that actually ring with opportunity. Anne and Nick move through the space with the slightly exaggerated competence of those who cannot afford to look as provisional as their furniture. I once worked in a similar room, a place where the desks had been borrowed and the award on the wall had been painted the night before the important client arrived. The paint was still slightly tacky, we all pretended not to notice. The telephone call that announces Maurice Tiller's interest arrives like a change in barometric pressure, $500,000. The sum is spoken with the careful neutrality of people who are already calculating what the commission will mean for rent, for sleep, for the ability to stop performing scarcity. $75,000 is the first number that surfaces, and even now the sound of it carries a faint electric charge. I remember the exact sensation of hearing a figure large enough to rearrange the furniture of a life. The body leans forward. The voice tightens. The future, which had been a series of small defensive negotiations, suddenly opens into a wider corridor. Anne's face, though the script does not describe it, must have shown the particular mixture of hunger and fear that appears when a long-desired object finally comes within reach. Hunger because the object is beautiful. Fear because reaching for it will require the sacrifice of something that has not yet been named. The preparation for Tiller's visit is pure theater of legitimacy. The Special Creative Award is freshly painted. The plaque is straightened. Barbara is drafted as temporary secretary so that the office will appear staffed. Schneider is enlisted to make strategic telephone calls from downstairs so that the agency will seem busier than it is. The performance is both comic and heartbreaking. It is the performance of people who know that success is partly an optical effect, that the client must be made to believe the agency is already the thing it is trying to become. I have participated in versions of that performance. The body learns to move with a confidence it does not yet feel. The voice learns to speak of campaigns and budgets as if they were already habitual. Underneath the performance, the private calculation continues. If this works, the rented furniture can be replaced. If this fails, the unemployment line is still visible in the rearview mirror. Manny Mancuso's simultaneous arrival is the perfect comic counterweight. The meat market client with the poetry of pot roast and the urgent need to move chickens arrives at the same hour as the appliance king. Nick's decision to schedule both appointments together is explained as psychology. Busy people like busy people, but the deeper truth is simpler. The agency cannot afford to look empty. Emptiness is the one luxury they do not possess. The overlapping chaos of breasts and thighs and color televisions is both farce and accurate portrait of a business that is still improvising its own existence. I recognize the improvisation. It is the same improvisation that once filled my own early workplaces, the frantic layering of tasks so that no one would notice how thin the actual foundation remained. When Tiller finally sits down and speaks the words, "We are going to be working together," the relief in the room is almost physical. The $500,000 budget is confirmed. The commission is calculated again, this time out loud. Anne's careful assurance that they will treat him as their biggest account is both sincere and already slightly compromised by the knowledge that he will in fact be their biggest account. The moral crack has not yet opened, it is still only a hairline fracture, visible only to those who know how to look for the places where hunger begins to distort judgment. Tiller's request that they simply run the existing advertisement, the one with the 3 specials and the low prices, is the first small test. Anne and Nick's instinct is to improve it, to clean the layout, to make the single television leap more dramatically from the page. The instinct is professional. It is also the beginning of the longer negotiation between what the client wants and what the agency believes it should want. The celebration that follows the telephone confirmation is pure and short-lived. $75,000. The number is repeated like a charm. Barbara is thanked for her help. The future suddenly contains the possibility of actual offices, of furniture that does not have to be returned, of a life that no longer requires the constant performance of arrival. I know the particular intoxication of that moment. It is the intoxication of people who have been running on the thin fuel of hope and have just been handed a full tank. The body wants to spend the money before it has arrived. The mind begins to rearrange the calendar around the new solidity. Underneath the intoxication, the quieter question has not yet been asked: what will this money require in return? The first answer arrives almost immediately in the form of Schneider's framed newspaper advertisement and the subsequent discovery that the $200 television sets were never truly available. The bait and switch is still only a rumor, a possibility, a story told by a man who is proud of having been almost cheated. Yet the rumor is enough to introduce the first note of moral static into the celebration. Anne's face, though unseen, must have changed. The hunger that had been simple is suddenly complicated by the possibility that the source of the hunger is itself contaminated. I have watched that change occur in rooms where the money was equally necessary and equally compromised. The air grows slightly thinner. The laughter continues, but it continues around a new silence. What the sequence captures with almost forensic precision is the particular vulnerability of people who have only recently stopped being desperate. Desperation has its own clarity. It knows what it is willing to do. The first taste of security is more dangerous because it arrives before the ethical muscles have been fully rebuilt. Anne and Nick are still close enough to the unemployment line that the $500,000 feels like oxygen. Oxygen is difficult to refuse, even when the tank may be leaking. The moral crack begins exactly there, in the gap between the need for air and the knowledge that the air may not be clean. I keep returning to the painted award on the wall. The plaque that is still sticky. The small domestic fraud that precedes the larger commercial one. It is easy to smile at the painted award. It is harder to admit how many of us have painted our own versions of legitimacy in order to be taken seriously by people who already possessed it. The paint is a form of hope, it is also a form of preemptive self-betrayal. By the time Tiller walks through the door, the agency has already begun to become the thing it is pretending to be. The becoming is not yet corrupt, it is only hungry. Hunger, however, is the most efficient solvent of principle that I have ever observed. The overlapping appointments, the strategic telephone calls, the temporary secretary, the freshly painted award, all of it is the choreography of people who understand that success is partly a matter of being seen as successful. The choreography is comic because the stakes are still small enough to be laughed at. It will become less comic when the stakes rise to $120,000 and the price of keeping the account is the quiet agreement to keep baiting the hook. For now, the crack is still only a line in the surface. The surface is still capable of holding weight, but the weight is coming, and the people who will have to carry it are already leaning toward the money with the particular helplessness of those who have waited too long for the ground to grow solid under their feet. I have stood in that lean. I have felt the ground begin to tilt toward the larger number. The tilting is almost imperceptible at first. It announces itself as professionalism, as realism, as the simple recognition that one must live in the world as the world is. Only later does the body notice that the angle has changed, that the moral weather has shifted by a few degrees, that the air which once felt like oxygen now carries a faint, persistent aftertaste. The aftertaste has a name, but the name is not yet speakable in the rented office with the sticky award and the overlapping appointments. The name will become speakable only after the first full night of sleep that the money has purchased, when the silence is finally long enough for the quieter question to be heard. Until then, the agency remains on the edge, balanced between the unemployment line that is still visible behind them and the $500,000 that has just opened in front of them. The balance is exquisite and temporary. The crack is already present. And the people who will have to decide whether to step across it or step away are still laughing, still straightening the plaque, still believing that the performance of legitimacy and the thing itself are close enough that the difference will not matter. I have never been able to hear the phrase bait and switch without tasting the particular metallic flavor of a promise that was never meant to be kept. The words themselves are almost elegant in their honesty. Once the mechanism is exposed, the bait is the beautiful low number, the switch is the moment the beautiful number disappears and the higher number takes its place. Maurice Tiller practices the art with the relaxed confidence of a man who has never needed to raise his voice in order to rearrange the truth. When he first sits in the rented office and speaks of low prices and 3 specials a week, the language is so familiar it almost passes as ordinary commerce. Only later, when the $200 television set proved to have been a mirage, does the elegance reveal its teeth. Tiller's smoothness is the smoothness of someone who has discovered that most people prefer not to look too closely at the source of their good fortune. He compliments the agency's energy. He praises their hunger. He tells them they are his kind of people, aggressive, out in front of the pack. The compliments are genuine enough to function as currency. I have watched men like him operate in other rooms, other decades. They possess the rare ability to make the compromised position feel like a shared adventure. When Anne finally confronts him about the missing low-priced sets, his response is not denial but delighted improvement. Of course, they only had 3. How brilliant of her to notice. In the next advertisement, they will simply print "Supply Limited" in large letters and watch the customers crawl over one another. The suggestion is offered as collaboration, almost as a gift. The moral crack that had been a hairline fracture suddenly widens into something you could lose a foot in. What undoes me every time is the speed with which the larger commission appears once the ethical difficulty is named: $120,000. The number arrives like a sedative and a stimulant at the same time. It sedates the immediate outrage. It stimulates the imagination of what the money could buy: actual offices, actual sleep, the ability to stop performing a rival. I know that double action intimately. I have felt a number rearrange the furniture of my own convictions before I had time to object. The body leans toward the sum while the mind is still composing its protest. Tiller understands this physiology better than most. He does not argue morality. He simply places the larger figure on the table and waits for the gravity of it to do the rest of the work. Anne's attempt to hold the line, "This is a question of morality," is spoken with the particular clarity of someone who still believes the question can be asked out loud without destroying the room. Nick's silence beside her is more complicated. He is the one who painted the award the night before. He is the one who scheduled the overlapping appointments so the agency would look busy. He already knows how much performance is required simply to remain solvent. The jump from painted legitimacy to accepted deception is larger than he wants to admit, yet smaller than the distance between their current rented furniture and the life the commission would purchase. I have stood in that exact calculation. The arithmetic is never pure. It always includes the faces of the people who depend on the outcome. Tiller's final instruction, "You bait the hook and we will get along just fine," is delivered with the casual intimacy of a man who has already decided the partnership is viable. The sentence is almost affectionate. It assumes a shared understanding that the world is made of hooks, and the only real question is who holds the rod. When Alex later recognizes the technique and cheerfully recounts his own elementary school version of the same scam, 3 comic books at 10 cents. 36 Archie comics sold at a higher price. The recognition is both comic and chilling. The child sees the elegance of the mechanism without yet feeling its weight. The father hears his son's admiration and feels the weight land fully. The moment Nick tears up the account is one of the few pure gestures the episode allows him. He does it for himself and for the boy. The purity costs $120,000. I still feel the size of that cost in my own chest. What the sequence understands with unusual precision is how quickly the language of business can absorb a moral injury and redesign it as strategy. Supply limited is not a confession, it is an improvement. The customers will crawl over one another more efficiently. The agency will be rewarded for the improvement. The only remaining difficulty is the private aftertaste that remains once the office is empty and the larger number has been declined. That aftertaste has no commercial name. It is simply the knowledge that a cleaner version of the self was possible and was set aside even if only for a few hours of temptation. I keep returning to Tiller's face. When Anne names the practice out loud, there is no shame in it. There is only the mild surprise of a man who has grown accustomed to the world's willingness to collaborate with its own deception. His delight at the supply limited solution is genuine. He is not a monster. He is simply a man who has discovered that the distance between a customer's hope and a customer's money can be engineered with a certain professional grace. The grace is what makes the practice so difficult to refuse. Monsters are easy to reject. Men who smile and call you energetic and place $120,000 on the table are harder. The agency's temporary willingness to consider the arrangement is the most human part of the entire arc. They are not corrupt, they are tired. They are newly successful and still frightened of the unemployment line that remains visible in the rearview mirror. The money arrives before the ethical muscles have fully recovered from the years of scarcity. I have watched that recovery fail in quieter rooms than this one. The failure almost never announces itself as failure. It announces itself as realism, as the mature recognition that one must live in the world as the world is. Only later, when the larger number has been either accepted or refused, does the body notice the slight change in the angle of the moral floor. When Nick finally tears the account in front of his son, the gesture is both victory and loss. The victory is the preservation of a line he was not certain he could still hold. The loss is the sudden return of all the old uncertainties about rent and sleep and the future of the painted award on the wall. Alex's cheerful admiration for the bait and switch is the final quiet injury. The boy has seen the mechanism and found it neat. The father has seen the mechanism and found it unbearable. Between them, the distance of a generation opens for a moment, a distance measured not in years but in the different weights they assign to the same elegant fraud. I still taste the metallic flavor when the phrase appears. Bait and switch. The beautiful low number that was never meant to be kept. The higher number that was waiting all along. Maurice Tiller practices the art without raising his voice, without losing his smile, without ever needing to admit that the art has a cost. The cost is paid later in the quieter rooms by the people who almost agreed to keep baiting the hook and then at the last moment remembered that they still had a choice. The choice is expensive, $120,000 expensive. And the aftertaste of having almost made the other choice never quite leaves the mouth. I have watched the exact moment when money stops being money and becomes a mirror more times than I care to count. It happens quietly. 1 minute the sum is still an external object, 75,000, then 120,000, something that can be measured against rent and sleep and the future of a painted award on the wall. The next minute the sum has turned around and begun to look back. What it shows is not the client's face but your own. The hunger that had felt professional suddenly looks more private, more ancestral, more willing to negotiate than you had admitted. In the rented office of Romano and Hendricks, that turning happens in the space between Tiller's delighted suggestion of supply limited and Nick's final tearing of the account. The interval is short, the reflection it produces is permanent. Anne is the one who names the injury first. This is a question of morality. The sentence is spoken with the particular clarity of someone who still believes the words can be used without quotation marks. I know that clarity. I have used it myself in rooms where the air was already thickening with the opposite argument. The clarity does not last. It is almost immediately answered by the larger number, and the larger number does not argue. It simply exists heavy and radiant, rearranging the furniture of every subsequent thought. $120,000. The figure is large enough to purchase actual offices, actual quiet, the ability to stop performing arrival. It is also large enough to purchase a slightly different version of the self, one that has agreed for professional reasons to keep baiting the hook. Nick's silence beside her is more complicated than simple agreement or resistance. He is the man who painted the award the night before the meeting. He is the man who scheduled 2 clients at the same hour so the agency would look busy. He already understands how much of success is optical. The distance between a freshly painted plaque and an accepted bait and switch is larger than he wants to measure, yet smaller than the distance between their current provisional life and the solidity the commission would buy. I have stood inside that exact arithmetic. The numbers never remain abstract. They take on the faces of the people who will have to live with the result. In Nick's case, the face that appears most clearly is his son's. The boy who has just been forced to rebuild a volcano under threat of total loss. The boy who still believes that cleverness and the easy way are close enough to be interchangeable. The account, once it becomes a mirror, shows Nick the possibility of becoming the kind of father who can finally stop performing scarcity in front of that child. The temptation is not crude. Tiller does not threaten. He improves. He takes Anne's moral objection and redesigns it as strategy. Of course, they only had 3 of the low-priced sets. How brilliant of her to notice. In the next advertisement, they will simply say so and the customers will arrive in greater numbers, more frantic, more grateful for whatever remains. The improvement is offered as collaboration. The collaboration is offered as the natural next step for people who are hungry and aggressive and out in front of the pack. I have heard versions of that offer in other decades, other industries. The language is always similar. It congratulates you for the very quality that is about to be compromised. Your energy, your realism, your refusal to be naive. By the time the larger number is placed on the table, the refusal to accept it has already begun to feel like a form of self-indulgence. What the episode understands with unusual precision is how hunger works on people who have only recently stopped being desperate. Desperation has a certain moral clarity. It knows what it is willing to do and what it will not do because the stakes are still simple survival or collapse. The first taste of security is more dangerous. It arrives before the ethical muscles have fully recovered. Anne and Nick are still close enough to the unemployment line that the $500,000 budget feels like oxygen. Oxygen is difficult to refuse, even when the tank may be contaminated. The mirror that the account becomes is so effective because it shows them not as villains but as people who have waited a long time for the ground to grow solid under their feet. The solidity is right there. The cost of stepping onto it is a slight adjustment in the angle of the moral floor. I keep returning to the private calculus that must have filled the silence after Tiller left. The rented furniture, the sticky award, the overlapping appointments that were necessary only because emptiness was still a present danger. Against that background, the $120,000 does not look like corruption. It looks like the chance to stop improvising legitimacy and finally inhabit it. The improvisation has been exhausting. The exhaustion makes the cleaner choice feel almost luxurious, something only people with more solid ground can afford. I have made versions of that calculation. The body leans toward the larger number while the mind is still composing its protest. Sometimes the lean continues long enough that the protest is never finished. Nick's eventual decision to tear the account in front of his son is one of the few pure gestures the entire composite script allows him. He does it for himself and for the boy. The purity is expensive. It returns them immediately to the old uncertainties about rent and sleep and the future of the painted award. Yet the gesture also redraws the mirror. For a moment, the account stops reflecting hunger and begins to reflect something rarer. The capacity to refuse a version of success that would require the quiet agreement to keep deceiving people who do not know they are being deceived. The refusal is not abstract. It is witnessed by the child who has just finished explaining how neatly the same mechanism worked with comic books on a school bulletin board. the child's admiration is the final weight. Nick hears it and chooses the heavier integrity. Anne's position beside him is more ambiguous and therefore more interesting. She is the one who first named the moral injury. She is also the one who has spent years absorbing the emotional fallout of other people's choices while trying to keep her own daughters upright. The account, once it becomes a mirror, shows her the possibility of a security that would finally let her stop performing strength on an empty tank. The refusal of that security is not simple for her. It never is for the person who has been the primary shock absorber. I think of the women I have known who made similar refusals, and then had to live with the quieter, longer cost of having done so. The cost does not announce itself as drama. It announces itself as another year of careful budgeting, another year of measuring sleep against money, another year of wondering whether the cleaner choice was also a form of selfishness toward the people who depend on you. The mirror remains after the account is gone. It shows Anne and Nick to each other in a new light. They have discovered that their hunger is large enough to make the compromised position look briefly reasonable. They have also discovered that the hunger is not yet large enough to make the position permanent. The discovery is intimate and slightly shaming. It is the kind of knowledge that settles between two people and does not leave. I have carried similar knowledge from rooms where the numbers were smaller, but the reflection was equally unforgiving. The knowledge does not make future choices easier. It only makes the cost of each choice more visible. What stays with me longest is the speed with which the moral weather changed once the larger number appeared. One moment the agency is celebrating a hard-won legitimacy. The next moment the legitimacy is being asked to absorb a quiet fraud in exchange for its own continuation. The request is never phrased as fraud. It is phrased as realism, as improvement, as the mature recognition that customers will arrive more eagerly if they are told the supply is limited. The phrasing is so reasonable that the refusal of it feels almost like a failure of professionalism. That is the particular danger of the mirror. It does not show you a monster. It shows you a slightly more practical version of yourself and asks whether you are strong enough to decline the improvement. Nick's tearing of the account is the answer he is able to give on that particular afternoon. The answer costs $120,000 and returns the family to the provisional weather they had briefly hoped to escape. Yet it also preserves a version of the father that the son has not yet learned to stop needing. The preservation is imperfect. Nick will continue to demand originality from the boy with a severity that sometimes borders on violence. He will continue to struggle with the softer forms of help. But on this one afternoon he is able to look into the mirror the account has become and choose the reflection he can still bear to see. The choice is expensive. The aftertaste of having almost chosen otherwise never quite leaves the mouth, and the rented office with its sticky award and its overlapping appointments remains exactly as provisional as it was before the telephone rang. The only difference is that the people inside it now know with a new and permanent clarity how much they were willing to consider paying for the ground to grow solid under their feet. I still see the particular awkwardness of a body that has not yet caught up to the mind that inhabits it. Ted Lomas walks into the Romano living room carrying a business degree from Harvard and the physical presence of a boy who has only recently begun to shave. The contrast is so exact that it feels almost engineered for comedy, yet the comedy never fully arrives. What arrives instead is a quieter, more persistent discomfort, the discomfort of watching someone whose interior credentials are impeccable while every exterior signal continues to announce childhood. I have known versions of that mismatch. I once sat across from a boy whose conversation moved with the speed and precision of a much older intelligence while his wrists still looked breakable inside his shirt cuffs. The room never quite knew where to place him. Neither did he. Barbara's greeting carries the layered recognition of someone who once received instruction from this same mind when it was even younger. "You've grown," she says, and the two words contain both genuine observation and the mild shock of realizing that growth has not yet solved the central problem. Ted's reply about hormone activity and the hairs that refuse to surface is delivered with the dry self-awareness of a person who has already catalogued every way in which his body betrays him. The humor is protective. It lets him name the difficulty before anyone else can use it against him. I recognize the strategy. I have used quieter versions of it whenever some visible fact about myself threatened to overshadow whatever I had actually come to offer. The conversation that follows is a careful inventory of credentials that should be decisive and somehow are not. Phi Beta Kappa. A business degree, a reorganization plan already admired by Ericsson Enterprises. Each achievement is placed on the table like a card that ought to win the hand, yet the secretaries at every previous interview have looked at the body first and decided the mind could wait. Ted's description of being laughed at of bosses suddenly becoming very busy. Of the repeated failure to pass the threshold of appearance carries the particular exhaustion of someone who has begun to wonder whether excellence is irrelevant if the container is wrong. I have listened to similar inventories from people whose talents were unmistakable and whose surfaces refused to cooperate. The exhaustion is always the same. It is the exhaustion of having to keep proving the same thing to people who have already decided that the proof cannot belong to a body that looks like his. Schneider's entrance sharpens the contrast. The older man immediately begins testing the boy with trivia. National League RBI leaders from 1930, and Ted answers with the unhurried precision of someone who has never found knowledge difficult, only the social packaging of knowledge. Schneider's delight is genuine and slightly predatory. He has found a mind he can play with, and the playing is a form of affection. Yet even Schneider cannot resist the physical joke. The nickname Mini Calculator, the suggestion that Ted should be in Washington advising the president on jellybeans, the entire register of affectionate diminution, all of it reinforces the same boundary the secretaries have already drawn. The mind is welcome. The body remains a problem to be solved or overlooked. The idea of the ringer emerges from that same boundary. Schneider proposes that someone else walk through the door first, someone whose appearance will not trigger the automatic dismissal. The proposal is half joke and half practical strategy. It is also a quiet admission that the world they inhabit still reads surfaces before it reads substance. When Schneider later appears at Ericsson Enterprises in the role of advance man, the performance is pure sitcom invention. Dwayne Roger Dwayne. The rapid cycling of names, the solemn declaration that the best things come in little packages. The comedy is broad, yet underneath it lies a more painful accuracy. The only way the brilliant boy can be heard is if a larger, more conventionally authoritative body clears the path. I have watched versions of that clearing happen in quieter rooms. The person who needed the path rarely forgot the cost of having required it. Ted's eventual confrontation with Buckley and Ericsson is the sequence's emotional center. The boy stands in a room full of men who keep seeing their own sons or the memory of childhood itself, and therefore cannot take the reorganization plan seriously until the body is somehow neutralized. Ericsson's suggestion that he come back in 10 years is delivered with the casual finality of someone who believes time is the only solvent for the mismatch. Ted's reply that he is available now is the sound of a person refusing to accept that his present tense must be postponed until his appearance becomes acceptable. The refusal is quiet and absolute. It forces the older men to articulate the real objection: what adult will take orders from a child? The question is practical. It is also metaphysical. It assumes that authority is a property of bodies rather than of minds. That the capacity to direct others is somehow housed in height and vocal register and the faint shadow of a beard. Ted's answer to that assumption is the most precise thing he says all afternoon. He lists the child prodigies, Mozart, Picasso, John Paul Jones, not as decoration but as evidence that the culture already knows better and simply refuses to apply the knowledge when the child is standing in front of it asking for a job. The list is both armor and indictment. It protects him from the charge of arrogance while quietly accusing the room of a failure of imagination. I have used similar lists in my own life when the gap between what I could do and what I was allowed to do became too wide to ignore. The lists never fully close the gap, they only make the gap visible enough that the other person has to decide whether to keep pretending it is natural. When Ericsson finally agrees to put him in a store, the victory is provisional and already compromised. The boy is given authority and then immediately surrounded by people who cannot stop seeing the body first. The employees' jokes about recess and top shelves and naps are the ordinary cruelty of people who have been handed a supervisor whose appearance violates the expected order. Ted's attempt to answer that cruelty with firmness, insisting on Mr. Loomis. Ordering the dismantling of displays, firing people in a rapid cascade is the overcorrection of someone who has been told to perform authority without ever having been allowed to inhabit it gradually. The firmness hardens too quickly into ferocity. The ferocity produces the exact rebellion it was meant to prevent. I have watched that acceleration happen in other young people who were given responsibility before they were given the ordinary apprenticeship of being taken seriously. The responsibility becomes a performance. The performance becomes brittle. The brittle surface eventually shatters under the first sustained pressure. What moves me most is the moment Ted later sits with Erickson and admits that he is neither child nor adult but a misfit. The admission is stripped of every credential. It is simply the truth of a person whose interior and exterior have never been allowed to occupy the same tense. Erickson's response that he himself never finished high school, that he once felt equally out of place, is the first genuine offer of kinship the boy has received all day. The kinship is limited. It does not restore the store job. It only relocates Ted to an office where the body can be hidden behind a desk and the mind can be used without constantly having to defend its right to exist inside that particular container. The relocation is both mercy and containment. I have known both. The entire Ted Lomas arc is at its core a study in the cultural refusal to let certain forms of excellence arrive ahead of schedule. The schedule is enforced by secretaries and vice presidents and employees who have never questioned why authority should look a certain way. Ted's presence disrupts the schedule simply by existing. His brilliance is not the problem. The problem is that the brilliance refuses to wait for the body to catch up. In the early 1980s, that refusal still registered as a category error. The category error produces comedy, cruelty, overcorrection, and finally a quiet, incomplete acceptance that relocates the difficulty rather than resolving it. I still carry the image of that boy standing in the sporting goods store trying to sound like a man while every face in front of him continues to see a child. The mismatch is so exact it feels like a wound the culture keeps reopening whenever someone arrives before the expected time. Ted Lomas is only one version of the wound. There are others quieter, less comic, equally persistent. The wound does not close when the desk is finally assigned. It only changes rooms. And the boy who once had to invent an advance man in order to be heard continues to walk through the world carrying a mind that arrived on time and a body that the world still insists is late. I can still hear the particular silence that falls when a room full of adults is asked to take orders from a body that has not yet finished becoming an adult. The silence is never pure. It is mixed with the small involuntary sounds of suppressed laughter, the shift of weight from one foot to the other, the quick exchange of glances that say what no one is yet willing to say out loud. Ted Lomas steps into that silence carrying a reorganization plan and the formal title of supervising manager, and the silence immediately begins to work on him. I have stood in versions of that silence. The body knows before the mind admits it that the ordinary grammar of authority has been suspended and that every subsequent sentence will have to fight to be heard. The employee's first jokes arrive like exploratory probes. Recess instead of coffee break, the need for help reaching the top shelves. The question of whether the new boss will require a nap. Each joke is small enough to be denied as hostility and precise enough to locate the exact vulnerability. Ted's physical presence is the vulnerability. No amount of Harvard credentials or admired reorganization plans can alter the fact that the voice giving instructions still carries the lighter register of someone who has only recently stopped being a child. I remember the exact sensation of speaking into that kind of resistance, the way the words seem to leave the mouth with full weight and arrive at the listener already diminished. The diminution is not intellectual, it is atmospheric. It settles over every attempt at command until the commander begins to doubt the legitimacy of his own voice. Ted's response to the diminution is the classic overcorrection of someone who has been told to perform authority without ever having been allowed to grow into it. He hardens. He insists on Mr. Loomis. He orders the dismantling of displays with a briskness that tries to sound habitual. He treats a 5-minute lateness as a punishable offense. Each escalation is an attempt to force the surface of the room to match the interior credential he knows he carries. The attempt fails in the way such attempts almost always fail. The hardness does not produce respect. It produces the exact rebellion it was designed to prevent. When the firings begin, first one employee, then another, then the customer who only wanted sweat socks. The cascade has the terrible momentum of a person who has lost the ability to modulate. I have watched that momentum take others. It begins as a refusal to be diminished and ends as a kind of private violence against the very people one was meant to lead. Barbara's quiet counsel earlier in the day that he must be firm, strong, virile, sits over the entire sequence like a well-intentioned curse. The advice is practical inside the world they inhabit. A boy who looks like Ted cannot afford softness if he wants to be heard. Yet the advice also assumes that authority is a set of external signals that can be put on like a jacket. Ted puts on the jacket and discovers that it does not fit. The sleeves are too long, the shoulders do not match. Every movement inside it looks like costume. The employees see the costume and respond to the costume. Their ridicule intensifies precisely because the performance of command has become so visible. I know that visibility. I have felt the moment when the effort to appear authoritative becomes more noticeable than the authority itself. Once that happens, recovery is almost impossible inside the same room. The arrival of Buckley and Erickson converts the private failure into a public one. Buckley's delight in the sound of being fired is the casual cruelty of a man who has never had to fight for the ordinary presumption of competence. Erickson's assessment is colder and more accurate, innovative, imaginative, and a disaster. The three words land with the force of a final judgment. Ted's attempt to explain that the employees could not accept him because of his age is met with the sharper correction that they could not accept him because he became a jerk. The correction is both fair and incomplete. The jerk was manufactured by the age. The age made ordinary firmness look like tyranny and ordinary uncertainty look like weakness. The room never gave him the intermediate space in which a young person is allowed to practice command without the practice being treated as permanent character. What undoes me is the moment Ted sits with Erickson afterward and says he is neither child nor adult but a misfit. The sentence strips away every credential and leaves only the raw fact of a person whose interior and exterior have never been permitted to occupy the same tense. Erickson's confession that he himself never finished high school is the first genuine offer of shared dislocation the boy has received. The offer is limited. It does not restore the store. It only relocates Ted to a desk where the body can be hidden and the mind can be used without constant defense. The relocation is mercy. It is also a quiet admission that the world they inhabit still does not know how to let certain forms of excellence arrive ahead of the expected schedule. I keep returning to the speed with which Ted's authority collapsed. The collapse was not caused by incompetence in the ordinary sense. The reorganization plan was sound. The inventory instructions were clear. What collapsed was the fragile agreement that the person giving the instructions had the right to give them. Once that agreement is withdrawn, every subsequent act of command becomes evidence of the original presumptuousness. The firings do not restore the agreement. They only confirm that the person who was never fully authorized has now begun to act without any authorization at all. I have seen that confirmation happen in other young people who were handed responsibility before they were handed the ordinary presumption of legitimacy. The responsibility becomes a performance. The performance becomes brittle. The brittle surface eventually shatters and the shattering is then used as proof that the responsibility should never have been given. The deeper lesson the sequence offers is not the simple moral that respect must be earned. Everyone already knows that. The deeper lesson is that some people are never allowed to enter the ordinary economy of earning. The door is closed at the level of appearance before any earning can begin. Ted's entire afternoon is an attempt to force the door open by sheer intensity of performance. The intensity only makes the door more visible. By the time he is relocated to the office with the smaller desk, the lesson has been absorbed in the body if not yet in the mind. Authority for him will always carry the memory of having had to invent it under conditions designed to refuse it. Barbara's earlier presence in the store, the quiet loyalty she offers while the others laugh, sits over the failure like a parallel education. She does not pretend the situation is normal. She simply refuses to join the ridicule. That refusal is a smaller, quieter form of authority. the authority of refusing to participate in the diminution of someone whose only crime is arriving before the expected time. I think of the people who have offered me that same refusal when the larger room was determined to make my presence comic. The refusal never rearranges the room, it only makes the room slightly less solitary. When Ted is finally led away from the wreckage of the store, the pain of the lesson remains more precise than any lecture could have made it. He has learned that command is not a set of signals that can be put on. He has learned that the body he inhabits still speaks more loudly than the mind he has trained. He has learned that the culture's schedule for excellence is enforced by ordinary people who have never questioned the schedule. The learning is costly. It costs the first real chance he was given. It costs the fragile confidence that credentials might be enough. It costs the hope that a single successful performance could rearrange the way he is seen. What remains is the quieter knowledge that the mismatch between interior and exterior will have to be carried for years, perhaps permanently, and that the carrying will never be entirely private. I still hear the employees' laughter when I think of that afternoon. The laughter is not pure cruelty. It is the sound of a room protecting its ordinary expectations against a presence that violated them. Ted Lomas walked into those expectations carrying a plan that could have improved the store and a body that the store could not forgive. The plan survived. The body was sent upstairs to a desk where it could be overlooked. And the painful lesson of command remains exactly where the sequence left it, in the gap between what a mind can know and what a room is willing to let that mind direct. The gap does not close when the title is given. It only becomes more intimate, more permanent, and more difficult to speak of without sounding as if one is still asking for something the world has already decided not to give. I still see the small green bird that suddenly had no one. The script names it only as the parakeet that belonged to Mrs. Ferraro in 507, yet the bird carries more weight than any of the larger human rearrangements that follow. When Schneider announces the death, the news arrives with the particular awkwardness of information that is both ordinary and final. Old people die. Apartments become vacant. The living must decide what to do with whatever is left behind. In this case, what is left behind is a grieving animal that does not understand leases or new tenants or the complicated permissions of almost family. I have inherited animals under similar conditions. The inheritance is never only about the animal. It is about the sudden responsibility for a life that did not choose you and cannot be consulted about the choice. Nick's immediate interest in the two-bedroom apartment is practical on the surface and loaded underneath. He needs a place. The building is convenient. The rent is manageable. The parakeet is simply part of the inventory. Yet the decision to take the bird is also the decision to step more deeply into the gravitational field of Anne's life. The move is not yet cohabitation, but it is the end of easy distance. Anne feels the change before it is named. Her fear is not theatrical. It is the quiet panic of someone who has finally built a fragile equilibrium. Work daughters the careful separation of romantic hope from daily logistics and can already see the equilibrium tilting. We work together, we play together. If you move into this building, we'll practically be living together. The sentence is both practical and prophetic. Proximity will make everything visible. The visible will demand decisions that distance had allowed them to postpone. Schneider's warning arrives in the form of Willie and Wally, the pygmy guinea pigs, who lived peacefully in separate quarters until they were made roommates and one ate the other. The story is pure Schneider comic, slightly grotesque, delivered with the cheerful authority of a man who has observed more domestic disasters than he has caused. Yet the warning is serious. Mother Nature in the raw does not care about the tender intentions of people who decide that closeness will be an improvement. Closeness has its own appetite. Sometimes the appetite is simply for more space than the other creature can give. I have watched versions of Willie and Wally play out in human registers. The consumption is rarely so literal. It is slower, more polite, and therefore harder to name until one of the parties has already begun to disappear. The apartment itself becomes a stage for the negotiation of new boundaries. Nick's list of needed repairs: dripping faucets, faulty light switch, stuck window, buckled linoleum, a shelf that looks as if it was put up by a drunken sailor, is both genuine complaint and the opening move in a longer conversation about what kind of presence he intends to be. Anne's counter list of house rules is the answering move. No loud music. No skateboards. No barbecuing on the fire escapes. No running between apartments in skivvies. Absolutely no orgies unless coordinated with the super. The rules are comic in their specificity and serious in their underlying request. If you are coming closer, you must agree to remain somewhat separate. The agreement is fragile from the first moment. Proximity has a way of eroding the very lines that were drawn to make proximity safe. The azalea that Anne gives Nick for the new apartment is a small perfect emblem of the entire transaction. It is beautiful. It requires care. It is also a plant that can die if the care is inconsistent. Nick's joke that she should not cry into it because he has just finished watering it is light on the surface and heavier underneath. Plants have already appeared in this composite story as sites of failed attention and forced effort, the talking plants of the science project. The broken azalea that will arrive later in the final confrontation. This earlier azalea is still whole, still hopeful, still capable of living, if the new arrangement does not become another form of neglect. I have given and received plants under similar conditions. The plant is never only a plant. It is a quiet referendum on whether the people involved can be trusted with something that needs regular, unspectacular tending. Alex's reaction to the move is the most accurate emotional instrument in the sequence. He does not celebrate the new room. He does not thank anyone for the chance to help decorate. His "it's a room" is the flat refusal of a child who already understands that every gain in square footage is also a loss in the old configuration of family. The boy who once scrambled to finish a science project under threat of total deprivation now watches his father step more completely into another woman's building and feels the ground shift again. The parakeet, the wallpaper, the casserole dinners, the possibility of gypsy violinists. All of it is evidence that the temporary has begun to harden into something that will be harder to reverse. I know that hardening. I have watched it happen in other households where a parent's new attachment slowly colonized the available space until the child's original map of home no longer matched the territory. Schneider's role in the move is the role he always plays, the man who makes the transition possible, while simultaneously mourning the loss of a simpler arrangement. He helps with the practical details. He offers the cautionary tale of the guinea pigs. He stands in the hallway with his pants inside out because it is easier to pin the parakeet that way. The image is pure sitcom and also quietly heartbreaking. The building super who has spent years circulating through other people's crises is now watching two of his favorite tenants rearrange their orbits in a way that will change his own access to them. The parakeet becomes for a moment the only creature whose grief is uncomplicated. The bird simply lost the only person it knew. The humans are losing versions of one another while simultaneously gaining new forms of entanglement. The bird's grief is cleaner. Anne's deepest fear is not of Nick himself. It is of the irreversible knowledge that will come with daily proximity. We'll really find out about each other. The sentence contains both desire and terror. Desire because the careful scheduled romance has been sustained by the very distance that prevented full knowledge. Terror because full knowledge has ended other arrangements she has already survived. The two of them have been able to keep the best versions of themselves in circulation because the worst versions still had somewhere else to live. Once the apartments share a hallway, the worst versions will have less room to hide. I have known that particular terror. It is the terror of people who have built a workable happiness out of partial visibility and can already feel the happiness beginning to require more honesty than it may be able to bear. The decision to move forward anyway is made in the language of risk rather than certainty. There are no guarantees on anything. Let's just dive right in and take a chance. The language is adult and almost brave. It is also the language of people who have already begun to lean toward the deeper entanglement and are now narrating the lean as a conscious choice. Alex hears the language and understands that the old configuration, the one in which his father's sadness still left open the theoretical possibility of a return to the original family, is being closed. The parakeet will have a new home. Nick will have a new address. The boy will have a new room that does not belong to the old story. The new story has already begun to write itself in the form of casserole dinners and house rules and a plant that needs watering. I keep returning to the orphaned bird. It sits in its cage through all the human negotiations, the only party that cannot pretend the change is an adventure. The bird simply continues carrying whatever memory a parakeet can carry of the woman who used to speak to it. In a narrative full of people trying to manage their own loneliness through new arrangements, the bird is the purest image of loneliness that cannot be rearranged. It can only be transported. Schneider transports it. Nick inherits it. Anne agrees to its presence. Alex looks at the entire transaction and sees only the further erasure of the family that once existed. The bird does not arbitrate the competing interpretations. It only continues to need seed and water and the ordinary maintenance of a life that did not ask to become symbolic. The move into the building is the moment the composite story shifts from the public spheres of school projects and advertising accounts into the more dangerous territory of shared domestic air. Everything that follows the romantic dinner, the broken plant, the slap, the final conversation about the irreversible shape of divorce will be made possible by this first decision to close the distance. The parakeet is the small green unconsulted witness. I still see it whenever I think of the sequence. The bird that lost its person and was handed to a new arrangement that may or may not know how to keep it alive. The humans around it are making the same wager with one another. They are wagering that the new proximity will be better than the old loneliness. The bird, being a bird, simply waits to see whether the hands that now open the cage will be consistent enough to keep the grief from becoming final. I still feel the particular temperature of a child's hatred when it has not yet learned to name itself as grief. Alex does not announce a war, he simply begins to withhold. The new room is a room. The plant his mother gave his father is something who needs it. The casserole dinners, the offers of food before the bus, the careful kindnesses that Anne extends are all met with the same flat refusal to be drawn into the new arrangement. The refusal is not loud, it is worse than loud. It is the steady low-grade withdrawal of a boy who has decided that any acceptance of the present will be a betrayal of the past. I know that withdrawal. I practiced it myself in a different decade in a different house against a different woman who had the misfortune of arriving after the original configuration had already begun to collapse. The azalea is the first visible casualty. Anne gives it as a housewarming gesture, a living thing meant to soften the new apartment and signal hope. Alex looks at it and sees only evidence. Evidence that his father is settling. Evidence that the temporary sadness that might still have left room for a return to the original family is being replaced by furniture and plants and the ordinary rituals of a life that no longer includes his mother as a daily possibility. When he later breaks the plant, the act will be read as simple anger. It is not simple. It is the physical expression of a child trying to stop time by destroying the symbols of the new time. I have destroyed smaller symbols for the same reason. The destruction never restores the previous order. It only makes the new order look more damaged and therefore more permanent. The keys are quieter and more devastating. When Nick tells Anne she might as well take his keys and let herself back in, the sentence is practical, almost casual. To Alex it is the sound of a door closing on the old story. The keys mean access. Access means the new woman can enter the father's space without the father having to be present to admit her. The arrangement is ordinary in adult life. In the child's emotional geography, it is a redrawing of borders that once seemed fixed. I remember the first time I saw a key that did not belong to my mother resting on a table that had once been only ours. The object was small. The rearrangement it represented was not. Alex watches the keys change hands and understands that the territory is being reallocated without a formal treaty and without his signature. His confrontation with Anne is the moment the quiet war becomes audible. Mrs. Annie Takeover. The phrase is crude and precise. He names the fear directly. She has moved his father into her building. She is cooking in the kitchen that now belongs to the new arrangement. She will be eating at the table. She will be sleeping in the bed. Each clause is a further enclosure of the remaining open space. When he says he does not want to talk to her, does not want to see her, does not want to do one thing that concerns her, the sentences are the pure negative theology of a child who has decided that the only power left to him is the power of refusal. I have spoken versions of those sentences. They feel strong in the mouth. They feel emptier afterward when the adult does not collapse and the new arrangement continues exactly as before. Anne's response is the response of someone who has already absorbed more emotional fallout than the child's anger can properly measure. She tries to keep the conversation open. She insists that whatever is bothering him is important to her. The insistence only inflames him further. Importance from her is another form of claim. He does not want his pain to become her opportunity for closeness. He wants the pain to remain a pure barrier. When she finally calls him a spoiled, rotten, obnoxious brat and then goes further suggesting that perhaps she had better take over because neither of his parents seems to be doing a very good job. The escalation is both defensive and accurate. The accuracy is what makes it unforgivable to the boy. He has been trying to preserve the original family as a moral absolute. She has just described it as a failure that might require external correction. The slap that follows is the physical punctuation of a conversation that has already gone past language. What the sequence captures with almost forensic tenderness is the child's terror that happiness in the new arrangement will permanently close the door on the old one. Alex does not yet have the adult language for this terror. He only knows that if his father is no longer visibly miserable, the theoretical possibility of a return to the original family becomes harder to maintain. Misery had been a kind of loyalty. Happiness looks like abandonment. When he later tells Nick that things were better when the father was miserable, the sentence is shocking only to the adults. To the child, it is simple continuity. The miserable father still belonged, at least in outline, to the previous story. The happier father is already living inside a different story, one that does not require the original mother in order to function. The war is quiet because the boy still lacks the structural power to make it loud. He cannot stop the move. He cannot revoke the keys. He cannot make the azalea remain unbroken once he has broken it. All he can do is refuse to participate in the emotional labor of making the new arrangement feel normal. The refusal is his only remaining territory. Anne, to her credit, does not pretend the refusal is imaginary. She feels its temperature. She understands that the child is not simply being difficult. He is fighting for a version of reality that the adults have already begun to set aside. The fight is hopeless in practical terms. In emotional terms, it is the only fight available to him. I keep returning to the moment Alex says he hates the building and hates the apartment she decorated. The hatred is real and misplaced at the same time. The building did not take his father. The apartment did not invent the divorce. Yet the building and the apartment are the visible forms that the loss has taken, and a child needs visible forms. Abstract grief is too large and too shapeless to fight. A plant can be broken. A set of keys can be glared at. A woman's presence can be refused. The refusal does not restore anything. It only keeps the grief from becoming entirely internal and therefore unreachable. Schneider's earlier warning about Willie and Wally hovers over the entire sequence like an unused prophecy. The guinea pigs lived peacefully until they were made to share the same space. One consumed the other. Alex is not yet trying to consume Anne. He is trying to refuse the shared space altogether. The refusal is cleaner than consumption and equally doomed. Proximity has already been chosen by the adults. The child's war can only determine the temperature of that proximity, not its existence. The temperature he chooses is cold enough to force a crisis. The crisis will arrive in the form of a slap and a broken plant and a conversation that finally names the irreversible shape of the divorce. Until then, the war continues in the smaller registers, the unanswered kindnesses, the flat voice, the deliberate absence of enthusiasm for any detail of the new life. I have fought that war. I know the exact cost of withholding. The withholding protects the original loyalty for a little longer. It also isolates the child inside a grief that cannot be comforted because comfort would have to come from the very people who are busy building the new arrangement. Alex stands in that isolation with a consistency that is almost admirable. He will not pretend. He will not make it easier. He will not give the new story his endorsement. The endorsement is the one power he still possesses. He spends it entirely on refusal. The refusal does not win. It only makes the eventual surrender when it comes more complete and more exhausted. The Quiet War is never only about Anne. It is about the larger terror that the past can be overridden by ordinary daily life, by keys and plants and casserole dinners, and the slow accumulation of new habits that eventually make the old habits feel unreal. Alex is fighting the overwrite. He is fighting it with the limited weapons of a child who still believes that refusal can function as a veto. The veto will fail. The failure will open the door to the final, more difficult conversation in which the adults finally admit that the original family is not coming back. Until that admission, the boy continues his low-grade campaign, breaking what he can break, refusing what he can refuse, and keeping the temperature of the new arrangement low enough that no one can mistake it for peace. I still feel the exact weight of a child's body when it has decided that language is no longer sufficient. Alex does not plan the broken azalea. The act arrives the way certain necessary violences arrive, through a sudden exhaustion of every quieter option. The plant that Anne gave Nick, the living emblem of the new apartment and the new arrangement, is simply there within reach, and the boy's hands close around it with the particular clarity of someone who has finally found a symbol that can be destroyed. The soil spills, the stem snaps. The careful hope that the plant represented is converted in one motion into evidence of how thoroughly the hope is rejected. I have broken smaller objects for the same reason. The sound of the breaking is always sharper than the intention that preceded it. Afterward, the room feels altered, as if a rule that had governed everyone has been publicly violated and cannot be restored. Anne's slap is the answering violence. It is not premeditated. It is the body's refusal to absorb one more piece of the child's hatred without answering in the only currency that still seems to have weight. The sound of the slap is small and enormous at the same time. In the moral weather of the early 1980s, it carries an immediate charge of transgression. Mothers and almost mothers do not strike children on television unless the strike is meant to register as a crisis. This strike registers. Nick's reaction is instantaneous and absolute. The woman he loves has put her hand on his son in anger. The boundary that separates romantic partnership from parental authority has been crossed in the most physical way possible. His demand for an explanation is not a request. It is the sound of a man whose two primary loyalties have just collided in open air. What follows is the most honest conversation the composite script has yet allowed. Anne does not deny the slap. She does not soften it into a misunderstanding. She says she went nuts and slapped him because the situation is complicated, because Alex has been trying very hard not to like her, because the child's campaign of refusal has finally exhausted the last of her available patience. The admission is raw. It refuses the ordinary parental performance of having been in control. I have listened to adults make similar admissions after the damage was already visible. The admissions never undo the damage. They only make the damage legible as something that was for a moment mutual. Alex's explanation of the broken plant is equally raw and more precise than any adult language in the room. He broke it because she was ruining everything. The sentence is the pure distillation of the quiet war he has been fighting since the move into the building. Ruining everything means making the new arrangement livable. Ruining everything means giving his father reasons to stop being visibly miserable. Ruining everything means closing the theoretical door on the original family with every casserole dinner and every set of keys and every living plant that suggests permanence. When he says he wants things the way they were, the desire is both impossible and completely coherent from inside the child's timeline. The way they were still included the open possibility of restoration. The way they are becoming does not. Nick's response is the first time the irreversible shape of the divorce is spoken aloud in front of the boy without softening. They can't be. Not ever. The two sentences are quiet and final. They do not blame the original mother. They do not blame Anne. They simply close the door that Alex has been trying to keep ajar through sheer refusal. The father then does the harder thing. He tells the child that the divorce was not his fault. The statement is necessary and almost certainly insufficient. Children of divorce hear that sentence the way people in deep water hear that the shore is still there. The information is true. It does not alter the fact that they are still in the water. I have heard the sentence. I have said it. I have never once watched it land as complete consolation. The broken azalea remains on the floor throughout the conversation like an unburied piece of evidence. It is no longer a plant. It is the physical proof that the child's grief has run out of language and reached for something that could be made to suffer in the old arrangement's place. Anne's slap is the matching proof that the adult's patience has run out of language as well. Between the two acts of violence, the truth that everyone has been circling finally stands in the open. The original family is not coming back. The new arrangement is not temporary, and the child's refusal cannot veto the adult's decision to keep living. The truth is not delivered as wisdom. It is delivered as the aftermath of two people who have hurt each other because the quieter forms of communication had already failed. What moves me most is the speed with which the room tries to recover ordinary order after the violence. The gypsy violinists are paid and sent away. The romantic dinner is abandoned. Nick takes his son home. Anne is left with the spilled soil and the knowledge that the first real crisis of the deeper entanglement has already arrived. The recovery is practical and incomplete. The violence has spoken something that ordinary conversation had managed to keep unspoken. Once spoken, the thing cannot be returned to silence. The boy has heard his father say not ever. The woman has felt her hand strike a child she has been trying to reach. The man has watched the two people he is trying to hold in the same life injure each other in his name. The injuries are small in the scale of the world's larger violences. In the scale of this particular family they are tectonic. I keep returning to the moment Alex says that things were better when his father was miserable. The sentence is the purest expression of the child's moral economy. Misery looked like loyalty. Happiness looks like forgetting. The father who was still visibly damaged still belonged at least in outline to the previous story. The father who is beginning to build a livable life inside a new story has already begun to leave the previous story behind. Alex's war has been an attempt to keep the father's happiness from becoming complete enough to make the departure irreversible. The broken plant and the slap are the moment the attempt fails in public. The failure is necessary. It forces the conversation that the quieter campaign had been designed to postpone. The sequence does not offer easy repair. There is no immediate hug that restores the previous temperature. There is only the acknowledgement that something has been said that cannot be unsaid and that the people involved will now have to live inside the clearer, more painful map that the violence has drawn. Anne's final comment to Barbara that Alex will understand and accept and live with the divorce but will never get over it is the most accurate adult sentence in the entire composite script. Understanding and acceptance are cognitive achievements. Getting over it would require the past to become something other than what it was. The past does not offer that service. The boy will carry the shape of the original family for the rest of his life, not as an open wound forever but as a permanent alteration in the way he understands what can be lost and what can never be fully restored. The slap and the broken azalea are the price of that clarity. They are also the moment the story stops pretending that the new arrangement can be built without someone bleeding a little. The blood is not dramatic. It is the ordinary blood of people who have run out of softer ways to tell the truth. I still feel the temperature of that room. The spilled soil. The red mark that must have risen on the boy's face. The father's voice saying not ever with the particular quiet of a man who has finally stopped protecting his child from the finality of the facts. The facts do not care that they are final. They simply remain, and the people who have to live with them begin slowly the long work of living with them anyway.